to the Play Some Video Games podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Delvin Cox, and with me is the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Donnie Reese. How you doing, brother?
Tired,
Me too.
but I'm here. The show usually improves my spirits, so
Won't do it today.
we'll see.
But if everybody was wondering where Dev was at and wondering, like, hey, what about the Outlaws review? Dev's not here. We lied to you. We're not doing no Outlaws review. We don't even have the goddamn game.
Dev will be here, he says, eventually.
He's not
at
coming.
some point.
He hasn't even played the game. We just wanted you guys here on
You
listen
have
to the
to, wow.
show. Broke Donnie. No counterpart. Fuck you.
Yeah, he says like open house or some shit.
Yeah, he's
What's
lying.
the bullshit he was saying? Back to school night. Like, what?
Yeah, that's not a thing.
What in the California hell is going on out there?
That's not a thing. He's lying. He's just straight up lying. Anyway, how's your week been, Donnie? My week's been terrible. I've been at work all goddamn week. Literally all week till like 9 to 8. And that the 9 is the time I got there. That is not like the time I like left to go to work. Because I'm doing like training and shit. So I had to leave my house at like 7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've been in
Fucking
class,
terrible.
right?
Yeah.
What, are you getting like relicensing or something?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It sucks. It sucks because it's like it's a 16-hour course and it's 16 hours of just sitting down listening to a motherfucker talk.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's done. Today was the last day, thank God. And it's in a place where there's nothing there except like it's like in a warehouse district. So there's no restaurants there, nothing like that. So to actually get food, I'll have to leave. And thank God it's only 5 minutes away and go to the mall and get food. So that was the best part of my day.
Yeah,
just going to the mall.
Not terrible.
Yeah, it was like 10-minute
It
drive.
could
Go
be
to the
worse.
mall.
Could be outside working in the heat or something.
Yeah, that would be. I might actually prefer that. At least I'm doing something.
Remind myself of that often. Yeah.
Yeah, the old days of you working on roofs and shit like that. That shit was. I've also done roof work and things like that. It's not fun.
I pulled concrete.
Yeah.
I laid tile.
I've done that too. Not fun.
Plumbing.
I think the worst.
Every single one of those jobs.
I've gotten decent at it. I think the worst was like when you work with like fiberglass and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets in your hands and you feel like your skin's been cut up. Yeah, that's man work. That's just not fun.
Yeah.
I like my working in the office.
Yeah.
In the AC. Like that.
I'm a big fan of air conditioning.
Yes. I know.
My week has been mostly fine. It's just been busy. It's not been bad. It's not. I don't have anything to really whine about. It's just we just have a lot going on, and it feels like everybody at the office is going in 30 different directions at all times.
Yeah.
You know, I had to talk with my supervisors today. You know, because I've talked about it a few times. We're about to evacuate like this entire hospital to a new location. It's like it's a really big deal. We're gonna have like an ambulance on the move every 3 minutes for 14 hours.
This sounds like the beginning of fucking The Walking Dead or The Last of Us.
Yeah, I mean it's a big deal, and I'm on the hook for creating these things that I create for people, and because this is such a big deal, not only do I have to create them for my users, I got to create them for the neighboring county and the neighboring county up there, and I got to share it with the state. Like there's all this extra stuff that's thrown into it, and my folks know that, and they know that, and you know, I've been building for it. That's what I'm trying to do. But the last 2 weeks, man, it's just we need you to go to this meeting. We need you to go to that meeting. Hey, by the way, I need you to drive across town to this thing. I need you to hop on. And I'm like, guys, you're killing me. Like I need dev time. You know, it's like they look at my calendar and they see an opening and they're like, let's fill it. And it's like, that's not open. It's not an opening. That time is allocated. That time is needed to get to where I need to be. So today we just had to have a sit down. I was like, look, that deadline's coming. and you're just assuming I'm going to make it because I always make it. And here's the official news flash: you keep doing what you're doing, I'm not going to make it. Like, and shit's not going to
Yeah.
work. It's going to be our fault. So I need you to figure it out. You know,
Yeah.
and it's not bad. It's not antagonistic. It's just communication. You know, it's
Yeah.
I talked about it earlier last year. You know, I have a new boss. He doesn't really know what I do. He doesn't really understand. He does now, but he still doesn't understand how much effort some of that stuff takes. You know, he's like, oh, he'll just turn it on. It's like, yeah, that it doesn't exist yet. There's nothing to turn on. I have to create it, and then we'll turn it on. You know, so
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
I've
I'm
been
tired. That's it.
been
More
dealing with a little bit of that too. Little same thing because I've been in training these last few days, and I told people I was going to training, so to leave me
yeah, John
alone.
32 exactly. I'm not allowed to delay my game to 20. There's no delay.
Yeah.
I don't get the
Yeah.
opportunity to delay the game.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah.
just be shit or not work at all, or like
Yeah. It'll be what's that game that came out
which is
earlier?
so funny. To like today, I demonstrated it, and this is like some E3 story shit stuff you'd hear about from developers in the old days. Today, I had to go to a meeting, a security meeting, where all the police and law enforcement across the state were like talking about it, and I had to demonstrate it. I was expected to demonstrate. Dude, I'll have you know that for the first 30 minutes of that meeting, while they were presenting and doing, I was literally sitting there building it. Literally building it in the room, in the back of the room. No, I was sitting there coding my ass off like nobody look over my shoulder right now. I don't want anybody to know that this doesn't exist yet. And I like smoke and mirrored it together. You know, I dumped some dummy stuff in there and I like added some colors and I was like, yeah, it's gonna be like this.
Yeah. So
And
you're like
if
the kid at the science fair who's
if
building the volcano, right? Like at the last minute.
if
God damn it, I
anybody
need baking soda.
if anybody had actually called my bluff and been like, yeah, put something else in there, the whole thing would have come down.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
well, it's not ready yet. But luckily for me, they didn't. You know, I
Yeah.
put it all in there and it looked like it was ready for go time. But it's not. And yeah. So
I get it.
anyway, people don't listen to this for us to whine about our jobs.
That's true.
Which is fine. It's just if I say that all to say if my energy isn't here, that's why, man. I am actually just tired right now. Like I'm just kind of tired.
Well, you can't be tired 'cause I have questions for you.
But I mean, there is good news though. There's silver
Yes.
lining. After that meeting, you know, I told you and Dev earlier this week, like, hey, if we can start the show early, that'd be great because I have to be somewhere at 8 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. And that place was going to be at Chick-fil-A headquarters, which is like an hour and a half from where I am. So it was going to be a very early day for me. That's all been canceled. My supervisor was like, yeah, scratch it. If you need the time, don't go. And I was like, fucking yes. Like,
That's good.
so now I get some extra time tomorrow to catch up, and I'm very much looking forward to that. I actually still might wake up early just so I can like have like a full run at it like tomorrow. Like tomorrow, I'm gonna turn my phone off. I'm gonna try not to be on Discord much, and I'm
And
gonna like
focus.
try to catch up. Yeah, like I need time.
That makes sense. That's good. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, because you brought it up Sunday, I want a little bit more info on it. This Five Nights at Freddy game.
Oh yeah, yeah. What
Because
about
I want to play it
Five
really
Nights
bad.
at Freddy's Into the Pit is what the name of the game is.
Because my son told me a while back, before this game came out, he's like, I know you like the Five Nights at Freddy game, but there's one that you might like.
Playing it
And
on
it's,
this bad boy.
ooh,
Yeah, it's sweet, isn't it?
yes, it is. It's really nice.
Hear that startup sound? Isn't that nice?
Like they just fixed everything on that bitch.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about it.
Oh, we can talk about it right now. Let me just ask you, how is the game? Are you
The game is
enjoying it?
good. No, the game is good. I don't look. I have nothing to compare it to, right? Like I don't know. This is the first Five Nights at Freddy's game I've ever played, so I don't know anything about the franchise really. I never watched the movie. Is it a cartoon? I don't even know where it comes from. Like, what is it?
It's
Is it like
it's a parody of Chuck E. Cheese.
well, I
That's it.
know that, but like,
The-
what is the media? Is it a comic book or something? Like, where did it come
no,
from?
no, that's literally what it is. It's one guy made a game like a horror game that's kind of like it was like crude, the whole thing was very basic. Where you have to like click on different. The original game, you have to click on different rooms to find the creepy animatronics, and it's like a
I
jump
remember
scare
this.
game.
Here's, here's the only reason I remember this because on the Wii U, Nintendo made a Star Fox game,
Yes.
and it had, if you bought it, it had like a bonus thing called Star Fox Guard, where you monitor these security cameras. And I remember at the time, everybody was like, "Yeah, they ripped off Five Nights at Freddy's," and I was like, "I don't know
Yeah.
what you're talking about."
That's literally what it is.
That's what it is. Okay, well,
That's
I've played
literally
Star
what.
Fox Guard. That's the only Five Nights at Freddy's game I've played. Then.
Yes, the first. I want to say the first 4 or 5 Nights at Freddy game is just that, and then they start expanding on it for me. Like one of them's a first-person horror game.
Hmm.
That's pretty. That's the one my son said he think I would like. But
Cool.
it's like a big. What I always liked about it is I never played any of them. The lore of it is cool as shit. Like the lore of Freddy Fazbear, how this whole like there was this whole like Chuck E. Cheese restaurant, if I remember correctly, and there was a serial killer who was like fucking killing kids and putting their bodies into the animatronics.
Jeez.
So the animatronics are essentially the kids killing people.
Interesting.
It's like a lot of lore to it. It's really cool.
Well, Five Nights at Freddy's Into the Pit, I saw at one of the indie presentations, like I want to say like 2 years ago, maybe it was last year. I don't remember, but I'll never forget it. The moment I saw it, I could probably actually find it in Discord. The moment I saw it, I was like, "Yo, who the fuck's making a clock tower game?" Because that's what it is. It's a clock tower game. This is like the PlayStation 1 Clock Tower 2. It is that game.
Okay.
It's just Five Nights at Freddy's, but the gameplay is Clock Tower. And the moment you saw that trailer, like it's instantly Clock Tower. Like you're like, oh shit! If you've ever played Clock Tower, like you can't not see it. Like it's right there. So this game, I did buy it. The developer actually offered me a review code, but I had already purchased it and actually
Oh,
told them I was like, yeah, I'm already bought it. So I was like, I'm good. And I'm happy to support them because I like doing that from time to time. And so you're like this little kid who goes to Jeff's Pizza, which is this Chuck E. Cheese thing, right? And your dad takes you, and there's like some story, like you're in the car, and he's not like super happy with his dad, and his dad like drops him off while he goes to work or something, and he stays at this pizza place, and he gets there, and he's like the only person there. There's like one family there. It's dingy, it's run down. None of the animatronics work. The arcade's blocked off. There's just like this attendant there. Like it's bad. The pizza's bad. Nobody likes being there. It's dark. And
so it's Dandy Bear.
it's what?
Dandy Bear.
I don't know what that is.
I'll send you Dandy Bear. You're like, oh,
Okay.
yeah, that's what it is.
So he's just like, I hate it here. And he talks to he overhears the family talking about some incident in a ball pit. He's like, you remember that ball pit? And he's like, oh yeah, back in '88. There was a ringworm. Everybody got ringworm from the ball pit, and it's been closed down ever since. So the kid finds his way into the room where the ball pit is, and it's all blocked off and everything. And you're like, oh shit. And you go in it, right? That's the thing you can do. You go in the ball pit. And when you go in the ball pit, it transports you back in time to the 80s when Jeff's Pizza was popping. And suddenly the restaurant's full of people and all the animatronics work and the arcade is on. It's very like Stranger Things, and everything's happening. You walk around and then you find your way back after some stuff happens and your dad is there. And he's like, I can't believe you did this. Like, I'll never let you do this again. And as he goes to pull you out of the ball pit, the Five Nights at Freddy's rabbit or whatever that kills everything pulls your dad in. And now your dad goes back. Right. And when he comes back out, he's not your dad. Like he's your dad, but he's not your dad.
Yeah.
And so you're being haunted by this thing in both times. If you go back in time, you're being haunted by the Five Nights at Freddy's bunny. If you were in your time, you're being haunted by your dad, who's possessed by the Five Nights at Freddy's bunny. And you do change locations. So some of this game is played out like at your house. Some of it's played at the pizza place. Some is played at the lumber yard. Like you traverse different directions, and you have a lot of freedom on like where you go. And
that is cool.
You have to go to each location, and you have to visit them at the correct time, like timeline. So like I'll give you an example of that. So every time you enter this ball pit, you can go back and forth across the timeline. So like one of the tasks you need to do pretty early on is you have to find out like how to get through the vents because all the doors are locked. Well, you need a
Okay.
screwdriver. It was a screwdriver in the maintenance room, but in the modern times, the screwdriver is like super rusted and you can't use it. So you got to go back in time to get the screwdriver. You go back in time to get the screwdriver, but the door's locked, so you got to get the key. And it's like stuff like that. And sometimes what you need to do is at a different location, so you got to go back in time, go to a different location, come back to get the thing, to go back to the other time, and keep going. And all the while you're doing this, you're being haunted by the thing. It's stalking you. It pops out of doors. It comes out of nowhere and it tries to kill you. And like
Let,
Clock Tower, Scissor Man is always
let,
around.
let me ask the strange question, but I'm very curious about this. If the creature catches you, do they show the murder?
They show like murder-ish stuff. It's not like Terrifier or anything like that. But yeah, I mean
Well,
it's like you'll see blood and stuff, and you'll like little cutscenes. But it's not bad. I wouldn't call it bad or anything like that.
yeah, I'm trying to figure out
There
like, is it
is like
like
some
Clock
dark
Tower
stuff. Like he
or is it
locks
like,
this kid in like this really terrible robot thing that's gonna like collapse his body if you don't free him from it and stuff like that. Like there is some dark stuff that the game does.
yeah, that's Five Nights at Freddy. What do you say? What's wrong with my mic? Oh,
I don't
Lord.
know. Your mic sounds fine to me. So, yeah. So I have been playing Five Nights at Freddy's, and my first Five Nights at Freddy game, and I am enjoying it. It is playing really nice. It pairs really well on a handheld. I'd highly recommend it. It's only on Steam at the moment, so you can only play it there. So if you got a Steam Deck or a ROG Ally, like I mentioned last week on the podcast, that I was potentially going to buy one, I did. I
Yes.
did find myself down to the Best Buy, and they did have a model. I did find out from the associate there that was holding it for me that it was a demo model that was in the kiosk. So it was the one that they had on display for people to come up and use. He said it had been on display for about 2 weeks, and I got to take it for the test drive. Like I got to make sure all the buttons work and nothing doesn't, thing. And I was like, yeah, I'll take it. And boy, I'm glad I did, Delvin, because my wife almost chopped her fucking finger off this weekend.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Remember I told you last week I better buy this thing before something happens?
You did.
See? Some shit happened. I was out there this week. It was cooler. This is like for the first time in like since February, humidity was like below 85% here. We were actually in the 80s for a moment. We're in hot today. It was like 94 today, but like Sunday it was like 83. It was so nice. So I was out and about. I was cutting the grass, I was trimming trees, I was doing the hedges, I painted the porch, painted the railing. I'm getting ready for Halloween. I'm like ready to pull all my stuff out. So I'm getting the yard ready. And my wife was using the hedge clippers. And she's trimming the hedges and like cutting stuff down. And I'm mowing the grass. I'm on the lawnmower and I see her like dart into the house. And like I yelled at her and I was like, hey, what's that? And she just kind of waved me off. I thought maybe she got stung by a bee or something. I was like, oh, she must be, I don't know what that was about. I kept finishing mowing the yard. I go in the house. She's in the bed, like screaming, crying over there, like whimpering, the loudest whimper you've ever heard. My kids are like, she cut her finger off. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like, what? She's already like taped it up with like tape. And she found gauze and actual tape. So I can't even assess the situation. She's freaking out. She's hyperventilating. My son is like, blood was everywhere. Like I'm like, oh my God.
She pulled the
Why?
penis.
Why is this happening? So I had to take her to the urgent care for it to get dressed. They didn't cut anything off, but she did, pretty severely cut her thumb. Like it broke through the nail. I think it's pretty deep. But because where it is, it really can't be stitched up. So they cleaned it, they dressed it, and then they like glued it all back together. And they put like they had to like, put a tourniquet on it and like all that. So her thumb is out of service for probably several weeks as it heals back together. So yeah, I'm glad I bought the thing beforehand. Not that costs a lot of money, but it could have. There's always something, there's always fucking something.
Was it on her writing hand?
I have no idea. I don't remember. Maybe, yeah. Yeah, hang on. Which one was it? Now I
Because
can't
you don't know
remember.
how important your thumb is until shit happens. You're like, oh, fuck. I can't
Now I
use
can't
my thumb.
honestly. Now I can't remember because like I'm trying to remember her at the doctor and like which hand she had on the table, but she kind of had both hands on the table. So now I don't even remember. I want to say it was her right hand, but it may have been. I don't know. I don't remember. He's her left. I can't remember. The funny part though, there is a funny part about that, is I teased the shit out of her once she came back down and started to like stop freaking out, like because she is fucking Captain Safety. You know, like I let my son trim the hedges once, and she lost her mind, like so anxious and like, oh, make sure he's got gloves on, make sure he's got all the stuff. There she is. No, it's my left index finger. There you go. And so she's always freaking out, trying to figure out what like how to make sure everything's safe all the time. And my son, I walked by, and my son was like, why didn't she have gloves on? I was like, now's not the time, dude. Like, don't say that now.
Shut up, son. My son has pulled that before. Like,
pick your battles.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the doctor's office, I was like, I was showing her Beavis and Butthead like cutscenes and like stuff like that. I'll read you one better. So I found out while I was cleaning up the yard that like I have a chainsaw. My chainsaw is just like, it sucks. Like the chain keeps popping off. Like it's super loose. I tried to tighten. It's not tightening. It's just bad. I've had the chainsaw for a long time, maybe like 8 years.
Gas powered chainsaw?
No.
Okay.
I was like, I need a new chainsaw. And a part of it is I've seen on TikTok, they have like a hand chainsaw that like you hold in your hand like a drill, but it's a chainsaw, like a little
I have one of those.
And I was like, that's cool. I want to buy one of those. So I bought one. So when it came, I started trimming this tree that's like been falling apart in our yard. So I sent a picture to my wife and I was like, hey, this new saw works pretty well. Do you know the audacity that this bitch had to say to me? You know what she said? Be careful. And it was like, you know what I replied? Yeah. Not like I wouldn't want to take my thumb off or anything. You know, like what the fuck? I had gloves on. I didn't put my hand in the saw. You know, like these are things I don't do.
Yeah, I told you why I had to buy a saw, right?
I don't remember.
It was a while ago. But one of the hurricanes that was down there, one of the many hurricanes that hit South Florida. I'm quite sure we was recording this podcast because I think I mentioned it on the podcast. I had to a tree fell down. I had to cut the tree off of the power line. Did it with a machete, like a fucking madman. I was just cutting the tree down with a machete and an axe. And I was doing it for so long, my hand just locked up.
Jeez.
And I couldn't move that bitch for like a day.
Yeah.
So I was like, never a fucking again will I be doing this.
Yeah, we have tools for this. We make it work easier. You're gonna be out here hacking away with axes and stuff. What are you doing?
Just like a fucking idiot, just hacking away with an axe and stuff like I'm Jason. Like, what am I doing? What is this idiot doing? Go spend the $50 and buy a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Like, no. That's what I did.
There he is. So yeah, I do have the LAX. I've had it
Geek Squad.
I've had it for
Geek Squad.
You about to fix my computer or something.
I mean, yeah, this is my work shirt, so
I can tell. Did you press the power button, sir?
I need to fix your mic because you sound like trash.
What's wrong with his mic?
It's just all highs and distortion. There's like no warmth, no depth. Like you, Donnie, you sound nice. You've got the warmth in your voice. Delvin sounds like he's coming through a microphone that was purchased for $20 at the swap meet.
So what the fuck is going on?
It's just all highs,
your
man.
Microphone, man. Buy a better microphone.
Yeah. That's supposed to be a good mic. It's just probably not EQ'd.
How does it sound now?
That was
way worse. I don't know what you just did.
I just cut off the echo cancellation.
Keep talking.
What about now?
Nope. Now
That's
you're
too
super
low.
their volume is super low.
I was low now?
Yeah. Go back to what you were doing. It was fine. It was fine before. It wasn't any worse than you normally are.
Just go back. Yeah, it's true.
It was better than what you were on XP. That was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is much better. Stay there. So the Ally. I have the Ally. The Ally X. X gonna give it to you, right?
Damn right.
It is, and this is the new one, and I've played it honestly every day since I've had it. Like every single day that I've had it, I've been playing with it, and a part of that is new stuff, right? New flavor. I'm enjoying it a lot, which is I don't think it's like saying any all that much. Like we knew what it was when they announced it and when reviewers got it, and every reviewer said, "Yeah, like they fixed all of it." And I'm here to report that I concur with everything that everybody said a month ago. They did fix everything on it. When I first held it, I was like, "Oh, this is like a chunky, like it's heavier than I thought." And I'm not sure if that's just because I've been playing the Switch for months, and it is just much heavier than the Switch. I did adapt to it; like it's not crazy heavy, but it feels dense, like it feels solid. But yeah, it's great. The battery life is through the roof. The first night I had it, I kid you not, guys, I think I played this thing for 5 hours. And the battery life was at 50%. Like I was like, holy shit, I still have time to go. Like I
That's
can't
really
tell
good.
you how
That's not
much of
bad
a
at all.
difference something like that is from the first experience. Right. I have always liked the Ally, but the first experience, man, it didn't really matter what you were playing. Like you could do things like if you put it on the lowest profile and turn the brightness down, like you could extend it out. But chances are, I didn't really know what you were playing. You weren't getting more than like an hour and a half of battery out of that thing at any time. Maybe 2 hours if you're playing something really small. Maybe, and it just goes by really fast. And I know Dev doesn't do much of the portals, but
No,
there are
he's a hater.
there's like battery anxiety when you're sitting there playing and you see that fucking battery just start to drain. You're like, oh God. And if you played anything worth anything, like, oh man, if you played anything like new or modern, something big, 55 minutes before the battery starts to go out. This thing, so the power profiles on the original Ally were 15 DDP and then 25. And if you plugged in, it would be 30. This thing, the 15 is 17, so 17 watts. It's more than the first one. I played for 5 hours and still had battery to spare. So I was playing a higher profile, higher performance for longer and still had battery to spare. I can't tell you how much something like that changes the whole experience. Like this is now something that I could carry without a charger and
That's
really
dope.
not be too concerned about it, right? I'm going to be able to play plenty of something and then still get back to my charger. Like before I was carrying like portable batteries, always carrying the charger with me. Always. You can't go that far away without the charger. Now I could like plug the charger in somewhere here at home and not feel the need to have like a second charger or to carry it with me. So a lot of that stress, that worry is gone. It also has AMD's fluid motion frames, whatever. And the old one does too. This is a recent update that they have. I play GTA, of course, because I'm kind of always playing GTA at some point. That makes a world of difference, at least on that game. I haven't played a bunch of games that I think would really like stress it much, but we've talked about how hard the new GTA trilogy remakes are, even on consoles. Frame rates all over the damn place, and it's terrible. Like
Yes.
you have a brand new PS5 and you can't play that game at 60 frames a second.
Damn shame.
With this, even running without it, I am running like in the high 50s, maybe a dip to the 40. You turn that fluid motion frames off with the VRR screen at the 120 hertz. It's butter. Don't even notice it. Like it just everything just magically starts working.
Sounds good.
And it's like when you see something like that on a portable, it's like, please, Nintendo, like just do this, right? Like you don't even have to push the power if you just adapt the screen and the technology to like mask it. Like just make it better, make it feel better. I like it. I like it a lot. I got a matte screen protector to kind of tone down the glare. And yeah, I've set it up. I got all my ROMs going. I played Wind Waker on it. I played it was funny. D-Life, he makes fun of me and he's like, buys the world's most powerful console, plays some old ass game. I played like 3 hours of Devil May Cry. I played Hot Shots. I played Tiger Woods
Nothing wrong with
Golf.
that.
Like, he's absolutely right. I was playing a bunch of old shit.
Live your life.
But it was great. It was great. It was a lot of fun. I've played 2K22 WWE 2K on it as well. I've been playing a lot of
22?
that.
Yo,
Yeah, because I don't like 23. I didn't like where they went with 23. I don't know. I always say chain wrestling. I don't know if that's called, but like the whole counter system and stuff that they did, like their whole like we want to make every match feel like a 5-star like scripted. I don't like that shit. I hate all that. I want my game to feel more arcadey. You know, I like the AEW game better because of that. But
That makes
22 was more like that. And I think it was the Bray stuff. It's been a year since Bray died, and I've been seeing all of that stuff come through on my feeds, on threads and stuff, and in my YouTube. And I was like, man, I miss him, and I hate like this is not just a him thing. This is everybody. But you know, I often mention this is something that I don't think I think of like death or like fear it. If anything, it's almost like welcoming. Like the idea of like not having to do the fight this every day anymore is like almost like relieving. But
Donnie's the star from the Mario movie.
the thing that troubles me about it though is that how fast it seems like everything just continues on. Like the world keeps spinning, bills keep getting paid, people keep going to work. You know, like you could be as impactful as somebody as a Bray Wyatt and be completely forgotten about in like a matter of days. You know, and it's like if that could happen to somebody like that, like what the fuck does a regular anybody of us stand a chance? You know, it's like is anybody in my family even remember me like next Tuesday? You know, it's like it's a guy. It's just sad. That's depressing.
It's more of a thing that you have to just move on. You can't just dwell.
Well, of course, I get it. I think we've all done it. It's just the human condition. You can't just dwell. You can't sit in it, right?
Yeah.
But it just makes me feel bad. It doesn't make me feel bad. It makes me want to be more cognizant of the folks that impacted me and just think about them more often, you know? It's like something that's always on my mind. It's like I don't want to just move on and act like it wasn't a thing. I would like to, you know, remember them a little bit more. So
that was always my wife's biggest worry is that people forget her mom. So I get that.
It's just like especially like for me, like I don't feel like, you know, and I'm trying to be like, this is meant to be as a positive thing. I'm not trying to bring the show down or anything. I just didn't. I don't think I've made like an impact. You know, I don't think most people have, right? You know, it's like most people won't. And it's just
I disagree with that.
Yeah, I didn't say that to hear it. Like I'm not trying to hear somebody disagree with me.
No, and
you know
I don't think we realize the impacts we actually make. I don't think if you're not a larger than life character, you really have no cognizance of the impact that you actually have.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I don't think people realize it until after they're gone. Like, you know,
well, and then again, perception's reality, right? Yeah. If you don't realize it until you're gone, like, did you? You know, it's just the things you weigh on you as you get older. I think as I get older, at least that's what my wife said. As I get older, I definitely have become like more considerate and more empathetic, I think, of others and like where things are, you know, like just how hard just general life is. Like I just kind of really toned down. You know, it's like, man, this all kind of sucks for all of us. Like you know, like for a lot of us.
Told you, he's the star from the Mario movie.
So
if you get that reference, you know what I'm talking about.
Anyway, I didn't want to go down that path, but I've been oddly playing a lot of 2K this week, which, by the way, 2K22 was delisted. I discovered. I didn't know that.
Oh, it was. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. So if you like, I want to play that one, Donnie, because that sounds better than the new one. Sorry, too late. Like, can't do that. Can't buy it anywhere. Also, when I got into the game, it was like, yeah, you can't play on the save anymore because everything's been turned off. He's like, you would update your save. I was like, okay, update my save. Guess what won't happen since then? Now my cloud save won't sync.
Oh,
so every time I quit the game and try to launch it again, it takes like 40 minutes for Steam to tell me it won't sync, and it still has it. To this point, it's still every time I open Steam, it's like we can't sync the save.
We've lost it.
It's like shit. It just doesn't work anymore. I'm like, what is happening?
No
Why is
soup
it
for
broken?
You.
It's literally like they're like, we've turned the game off. We want you to buy the new one.
Donnie, go buy the new one. They said.
Oh, fuck that.
The one with Cody Rhodes on it.
Tell them to make a good one. Tell them to make a good one again. I don't like this sim shit that they're doing. I really don't.
Well,
you know, they're making a wrestling game not for me. It's not for me.
Go,
Like I want
go back and play Fight Forever. With
I
me,
want
Donnie.
the N64 games back. I want Raw versus SmackDown back. Like give me
Just
the arcadey beat the shit out of sucks. Like I want the
come on
physics
back
sandbox.
and play Fight Forever with me again, Donnie.
Well, I do have two. I do have Playgrounds. You know,
Playground's good.
Yeah, I still have Playgrounds. I can play that too. So that's me.
That's what I literally been playing Fight Forever. That's the only one I play now.
That one's really bad.
I love
it wasn't. It's just become bad. Like it's gotten worse.
I don't think people. I don't play
How
on
is that
multiplayer.
possible?
Because they've added patches and they've added all this extra DLC and stuff, and they like tried to focus on the multiplayer. And then when the multiplayer didn't take off, it's like they just abandoned it. They just stopped.
I don't give a fuck about that multiplayer. I just play the single player,
It's fun.
single matches.
Yeah, you can have fun.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I still play it too. Like I have it on my Switch, and when I'm in the mood to play a wrestling game, I play on my Switch. So,
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
I told everybody that you quit the show, Dev. You weren't coming. There was no Star Wars review.
he
We
said it was all
lied.
a lie.
It was all lie. We just got people to come listen to the show.
you just love to just murder me off every time.
Yeah. Just said, he's like, Dev's not coming. He never planned to do a review.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
It's quite fun.
You're welcome back.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm back. I was out there being a dutiful parent. My wife is mad because I left her.
What is this back to school shit night you're talking about?
So this is back to school night. So we're going to all of her classes.
I don't think that's a thing.
It's always been a thing.
I think it's a you thing. I think it's a California thing, maybe.
Maybe it's a California
So when you say
thing,
back to school day, I'm like, yeah, open house. And you were like, no, open house already happened.
No. Yeah, we had
an
open
additional
house.
thing.
Yeah, open house is when you go and like you meet the principal and the principal talks about the school and stuff like this.
That is not
back
what
to
open
school
house is.
night. That's what it is out here.
Dude, see, this is blowing my mind. What is this?
Yeah,
shit?
back to school night is when you go to each individual
Open
student's
house.
classroom. Yeah, we have two.
Open house
different hours.
is you take your kids to school and they get their schedule and they get their syllabus or agendas and they know where
Yeah,
everybody is. You meet
this
the
is
teachers.
this is not us taking the kids. This is just the parents.
I would never go. I would never show up.
Yeah. You ain't lying. Ain't no way.
My number.
Oh yeah, we meet each of the teachers. They tell us what is in the class. We see some of the students work, some of our kids work or whatnot. We get the teachers' emails, and if we need to do anything further, we get the parents square so we can actually be involved. We learn about how they're using the Chromebook, stuff like that. So yeah,
I am a terrible father.
So we roll out here. So yeah,
I had to go kick it. Like, I'm not doing any of that,
my brother.
Look, my
kid
will be there
period.
Monday, and I expect you to tell them anything they need to know.
Oh, they've already been in school for 3 weeks, so this is after that. So we actually see what they're doing. So yeah, it was very good.
Parent teacher conference stuff, because they do have those every so often.
Yeah, we have those too. This is different.
We have
those as well.
What the hell?
This is not a parent teacher conference. Yeah.
Wow.
We have those individually.
Well, it's hard to make fun of anybody for being like too involved. I guess you can't be overly involved.
Yeah,
but I feel like you can. I feel like you can.
It made a huge deal last year, just getting to know the teachers, being involved, being able to message with the teachers, finding out what my daughter was and wasn't doing, and being able to help her with like her schoolwork so she could do well. Because her goal last year was to try to get all A's, and she had that for a quarter or whatnot. And we just know that she's like really struggling with math, but she really likes math. So I'm just trying to help her out so that she can do it. COVID totally fucked her with math because she was really well. And then COVID happened in the homeschool and not being able to really get the attention she needed just kind of screwed her in math. Like 8th grade, English, she's great. She's reading at a college level at this point. She's in honors English, and her teacher like messaged my wife separately and said, your daughter is an amazing writer. So she's doing well. We just, need to help her with the math. And a lot of it is like, she missed out on the repetition of flashcards and learning all her multiplication tables and stuff like that, which is like the foundation, which my son already knows. And it's insane. So, but yeah, I was just trying to show up and make sure I'm involved so I can help her out. And my wife is mad because I left her after 4th period, so she has to do 5th, 7th, and 8th period all by herself. She's like, you made me look like I'm a single parent. I'm like, no, I'm just at home with the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before you get into Outlaws, I got one more that I didn't write down. I forgot about. that I specifically want to put on Delvin's radar, and maybe only Delvin's. I don't know.
Okay. Might
Josh
be only
might like
mine.
this
That's fine.
game. I bet Jason would like this game. There's a game that's coming out on Switch at the end of the month that's been on my radar for some time, and I got alerted that there was a demo on Steam. So because I have the Ally, well, this is one of the things that like having a portable again. Something I did on the Ally a lot of is I played a shit ton of indies, like because you've got Steam and access to so many demos and stuff. It's like something I always do, and it's a game called Iron Meat.
Iron what?
Iron Meat. You need to wishlist this game because you remember we were playing.
Scared to wishlist
remember
it.
we tried the demo for the new Contra and how terrible that was.
Yes.
This is the Contra game that we want to play.
Oh.
This is like fucking Contra
Iron
meets. This is like Contra meets fucking Doom, and it's fucking awesome. Like it is really good. I played the demo and was like stricken by it. I was like, oh, I'm buying the shit out of this game.
Oh shit.
It's a lot of fun. Put it on your Steam Deck. There's a demo. Just go grab the demo and just play the demo. I don't want to tell you any more than that. The music's great. It's got like the 16-bit look, but there's more to it than that. It's like the modern, like there's more effects and stuff going on in the background than like meets the eye. Like it looks old, but it's more than that. And it is really good. Like I like it a lot.
Comes out
Iron
September
Man.
25th.
It's Contra. It's definitely Contra
it's but it's good
age.
Contra. Not did you play the new Contra? This
No,
bullshit they tried to
absolutely not.
roll out a while. It was bad. And I felt bad saying it was bad because like people are gonna hate me because I'm shitting on Contra. And then Delvin played it and he showed up with Shaq and he was like, this shit is trash. I was like,
And I'm a Contra fan.
I was like,
I
"It's so
love
bad."
Contra.
So this is what we're missing. This is what Contra should be. This is what they should be doing with Contra.
Yes.
Iron Meat.
Looks really good.
It is really good. So
Sweet.
I don't understand. I don't understand why.
Why actual Contra sucked and
Yeah.
this doesn't?
What
Yeah,
was it
because-
called? It was called
Contra
Operation
Operation
Galuga.
Galuga.
It has a 9 out of 10 on Steam. Let me tell you
This
something.
bitch is lying.
Listeners, yeah, they're way off.
They are.
And I hate
buying
saying that because
reviews.
Way Forward apparently like made it or published it. Like it's not good. It just
Not good.
isn't. It just doesn't play well. It doesn't look good. It's not good.
It looks and feels cheaply made.
It does
Is it-
look hella cheap. Jesus.
Yeah, it's like a mobile game. It's like
Yeah.
Konami, right? Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Konami,
Isn't it
Konami
owns
published it. Konami
Why
published
aren't
it.
they
Wait
like-
for it.
When I played Iron Meat, I'm like, Konami, get your shit together. Like this is what you should be making.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
don't know.
mobile game. They made it for mobile and Switch and ported it to Steam. This is for Daniel.
Yeah,
they
but
made
it's
this
not
for
just
D
like-
Life.
It's
Yeah.
not just like for Switch. Like it feels cheap.
I know.
You know,
I
it's
know.
got that it's
Mobile
like,
game
it's-
and made it for D Life. This is the
Android.
D Life special.
Oh, it's
Yes.
bad. It's bad.
D-Life, your people ruined Contra. Just thought you should know that, D-Life.
They sure did. They sure did.
Well, Iron Meat is here to save it, and I had a ball. I played the demo for like 2 hours, and I was like, yo, dude, I'm gonna buy that game. I don't know when I'm gonna play it, but it's definitely getting bought. Like I'm definitely putting that in the library because it's really good.
Yeah, I can't wait to play Iron Meat.
The music's great.
Jesus Christ.
It's coming to Switch. I may buy it on Switch. I don't know. We'll find
You're
out.
gonna buy it on Switch. You are.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably.
You
I do.
love that
I am,
damn
I
machine
really
again.
do. I do.
Yeah.
If they make a physical, for sure.
Oh, they are. I read it. I looked
Well,
it up.
is
It
there
said
physical
physical.
cart? Well, there it
Yes.
is.
Said
it is
physical
then.
copies coming
I'll
soon.
buy an Iron Meat on Switch via cartridge for sure.
It's gotta have that physical Iron Meat. Got it.
Physical
Yeah.
Iron Meat.
On PS5 and Switch.
Yeah.
Physical
You
cartridge.
know, Delvin's definitely gonna buy it physically at the GameStop. That isn't quite a GameStop.
I'm going
He's
to the
not gonna
retro
get
game
some
store.
Iron Meat.
Retro.
He's gonna
GameStop.
get
You
plastic
see
meat.
that?
They don't exist anywhere near me, so no.
The nearest one to
Doesn't-
me
it's
is
not real.
40 miles away.
Yeah.
Make that drive.
There's-
I kind of
There's
got
nothing
excited
close
when
to
I
me.
first saw it. I was like, are they like, is this like a new store, like a new venture? And then when I started looking into it, I was like, oh, this is just a GameStop that has like some N64 cartridges. Like it's
Yeah.
not as
Yeah.
exciting anymore.
Yeah.
We have the real thing. It's called Game Dude, and it's in Van Nuys, and that is where you go if you want the real retro.
I had this
stuff.
vision of like you go to a GameStop and it's like GameStop Retro, and you walk in, and it's got a different look. Maybe it's like some 1-Up arcade stuff.
Looks like the old GameStop from back in the day.
I was like, oh shit, that would be like if it was that, I would drive 40 miles just to see it. Like,
I think if it takes off, they might consider that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring back Electronics Boutique. That's what I'm talking about. Let's bring back EB Games.
But
cool. when I started looking up on threads and stuff, people were like, yeah, I went to one. And it was just a GameStop. And I was like, oh, that's less exciting. Also, somebody told me there's a shit ton of reproductions in there, which makes a lot of sense. Wow. They were like, yeah, I went there and there was a shit ton of fake Pokemon games. I was like, yeah, I bet there are.
Well, I need to go there then.
But there's a bunch of people that don't know any better. You know, they're like, they don't care. Does it go in the Game Boy? Does it play? They don't give a shit.
Get me Pokemon.
Yeah, those people are Delvin. That's Delvin.
Hey, I'm not hating them on it. You know, people got to let some of this stuff go.
Yeah, just have fun.
Precious all the damn time. You know, there's a lot of people out there. Guess what? Does it play Pokemon? Then they don't give a shit. They just want to play Pokemon. You know, they don't care.
Goddamn right.
Pokemons and the Pokemans.
Let them play their game. Let them have their fun. I'm trying to ruin everybody's fun all damn time. So,
I went to one GameStop a couple weeks ago, and I noticed my son pointed out to me they have like a shit load of like PS3 games now.
Well, then that was a GameStop Retro.
Yeah, that's all they had though. It's just like PS3 games. Like, this is our retro section.
Well, I wonder how many 360 and PS3 games GameStop's just sitting on. If they didn't throw them all away, if they warehouse them, there's got to be a million of those things in there. And that stuff's starting to come back around. You know, it's all coming back around.
Let's just bide our time and sit on this until the passes are ready for the old school. And we'll rise again like a phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot else right at the moment until a Pro comes or a Switch gets out. There's not a whole lot going out. So if you can make some money selling some old stuff, make some money.
Yeah. I almost want to buy a 360
hot right now. Yeah.
I almost wanted to. Now I remember
why
what it was like having a 360 and
I'm asking why. Why would you want to?
I kind of missed the 360. 360
Stores closed.
Yeah, but the disc based games, like stuff like that. I got a couple of discs I want to play.
Can you play them in your Xbox Series X?
If they're compatible, you can.
Some of them you can't. Some of them, a lot of them.
Yeah,
you can't.
but what if you needed updates for them? Then you can't get the updates.
Yeah,
or can you still update them even though the store is closed? Can you still?
That's a good question.
I bet you can. I bet the servers aren't down; just the store is closed.
My concern was the reason why I didn't get one because they always have them at pawn shop for like $20.
Sure.
Because my whole thing was, if I buy this, how much I'm gonna play it before this bitch gets the red rings?
Well, if you buy one today, I doubt you'll get one that is susceptible to that. You're not going to be buying a 2005 OG Xbox. You're going to be buying like the E model or one of the models where they fix that.
Let's be real. It's Delvin. He's definitely going to get the red ring.
He's just going to buy the OG model anyway.
Keep it 100.
I'm going to buy whatever one.
Into a pawn shop?
Yeah, a pawn shop, baby.
For $20, it's gonna be red ring the fuck.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I would imagine if there's still if you can find an Xbox to buy, I would imagine it's a model that issue was already fixed on because the rest of them are either thrown away or returned.
Not in Delvin's case.
I don't think so.
I would take the bet.
I don't think so, Tim.
Yeah. I won't buy that for $1.
You know what? Now I kind of want to go to one of those stuff that have one just to see it.
But why would you? So here's my thing. Why would you buy the original model instead of one of the revisions? The revisions I thought were much better.
Because I don't see those as much.
So you're talking the white original 360
or the black one? I see.
The black one was like the Pro model, wasn't it? Because it had like the larger hard drive and like the network port or some nonsense.
Yeah, because every time I think 360, I think of the E model. And there's a K model. Those were sleeker. More rounded. And
every time I go in the pawn shop, I see them there. Like, how much is that? Like $20.
F model, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're not too bad.
I couldn't even tell you where a pawn shop is. I ain't seen one of those things since I lived in LA.
Mr. Brother man, Anthony McGee over here.
I don't be looking for them. I know they exist out here. I just don't look for them. I couldn't tell you where one is in LA. I've never seen one. But
near me. Several.
He said, I live in the hood of all hoods. We are pawning things left and right. We got to pay this rent.
Yeah, several. Need a bike? They sell that bitch for $25.
What he's trying to say is he lives in a pawn shop. He's got a pawn shop underneath him. He's actually pawning shit himself.
Yes, just
He's
take
part of the
I can see
cycle.
it. I can see it.
I should
Yep.
just go there and
Good
just pawn
business.
shit.
Yeah,
I'd probably make a
yeah,
good amount
yeah.
of money.
Put little Delvin to work.
I probably would. Yeah, I probably should take him in. Just go take the shit to the pawn shop.
When I was
Keep
younger, I
money.
thought about it. I always thought that'd be a good place for me to be in. Then you realize how many pawn shops get robbed, and I was like, nah, never mind.
Oh, they get robbed all the time.
All the time.
But-
It's like it's a routine part of the business.
Yeah.
Damn.
Like, never mind. I'm good.
No, thank you, friend.
Hmm.
All right. So, do we want to get into the news and then we can do the review with the
No,
questions?
Do the review. People, do the review.
He's been
Get the
waiting.
review out the way.
Yeah.
All right.
Let everybody know Outlaws. You've been playing early.
So, I've been playing Star Wars Outlaws, and it's a game
Oh,
Wow.
that does game things.
wow.
The reviews were all over the place, and they're not wrong. It doesn't do anything great. Like, that's the thing. It's very mediocre when it comes to the gameplay, the combat. It's not doing
Mediocre,
anything
though.
special.
Not good, but mediocre.
Just mediocre. Like,
We're not
It's
never
funny-
getting another game code again, Donnie. It's your
I know,
fault.
There goes Shadows.
Yeah,
Thanks,
yeah.
Dev.
just because it's mediocre doesn't mean it's not good enough. It's fine.
I actually do think
Like-
that's what mediocre means.
That's literally what mediocre
If
means.
you
It's
call something
mediocre, it's
mediocre, I think
alright.
it means it's not
okay.
good.
Yeah.
In comparison to something like Horizon that actually has better stealth combat. When you said, is it like Metal Gear Solid? I'm like, man, unfortunately, the stealth is very much like Metal
Yeah,
Gear Solid,
that's what
the
I've been hearing.
original Metal Gear Solid.
That's what I've been
Basically, it's the same. Like Nyx is the same as like knocking on the wall.
hearing. Yeah.
Basically, you hide behind a box, hope the enemy can't see you, memorize whatever their roaming pattern is, and then you can either send Nyx to distract them, or you can send Nyx to attack them, and you can run up and like knock them out or whatnot. So like the stealth mechanic is they're not doing anything special in stealth. It's literally just hide behind a box, hope the enemy doesn't see you, either walk up behind them and press square to knock them out, or
My
you
question
send
is,
Nyx.
how much of it is there?
A lot.
Yeah, that's the other
It-
thing.
there's-
That's the thing I've been hearing that's been kind of turning. I'm like, oh no.
There's a lot of sections where it's don't get caught. You can't get caught, and if you get caught, it automatically resets you back to wherever the
You can't
checkpoint was.
fight
And
your
that
way out of
checkpoint
it.
can be very no. You can't
You
fight your
can't
way out.
make
Of it.
it the action game if you want it to be.
No, not in those
That's-
sections, unless
that's
you're
tough.
fast enough to where if you can stop them from getting to like if it's a don't get the alarm sound, because you have the don't get caught and then you have the don't sound the alarm.
Sure.
So you have some where if you can catch them fast enough and they don't sound the alarm, you can avoid that. But even that is really difficult, because if you alert one person and somebody else gets alerted, they're running to the alarm. So you got to try and stop them, and it just ends up being a hassle. So there's a lot of stealth, especially in the beginning of the game. A lot of stealth mechanics where it's like, you can't get caught, you can't be seen. Especially when you have low reputation with the different factions. When you sneak into their areas, you can't really attack. You have to just remain stealth and not be seen. Otherwise, you get caught and you get kicked out of their section,
funny,
and
the
you got to start it
lead-in-
over.
With the marketing and the showcases, everybody kept saying it was Uncharted and Tomb Raider. And then out of the review cycle, I kept hearing Metal Gear and Hitman, and I was like, ooh.
No, it's Uncharted, not one. I'm sorry, not two, not three, not like the first Uncharted.
Drake's Fortune.
When it comes to like the
Woo.
actual gunplay, it's very similar. Like the gunplay is very basic. You have a blaster. It's got 3 modes. It's got a plasma mode. It's got like an electric mode or whatnot that is used more for droids. Or if you shoot the enemies enough, they get jolted, and then you can either use melee or shoot them with a blaster again. And then they have like a power shot. Each of those has a couple of different upgrades, so it can be like a single shot or a multi-shot. You have a cooldown where once your blaster like overheats, you can there's a little meter to try to get it right in the middle to reload faster. So it basically cools down quicker.
I'm going to ask a dumb
that's
question, Dav.
Mhm.
You said a blaster has a stun mode, right?
No, not a stun mode. It's got like this like a jolt
Electric
shot
mode.
where if you shoot the
shock.
enemy enough times, it'll shock them
They'll
and they're just
stun.
kind of
They'll get
stunned.
stunned.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of lame.
But it's used more for like droids, because if you shoot the droids with like the plasma blaster, it just bounces off them. So you have to
they're
use
droids.
I don't
the
think that's how
electric
that works.
It is how that works.
That is how
No,
that
I don't
works.
think that's how that works. In
Unless
Star
you have
Wars.
a power, unless you have the
If you
power
shot an
shot
android,
to
if you shot a
actually get
robot
through the
with
armor.
a gun, it's not doing a whole lot.
Yeah,
They're made of
the
metal.
plasma
dude.
doesn't do anything.
It's not going
I
to do
think
anything.
I've seen Mando shoot robots.
But if
Unless
you
they're
if
those
you if you
stormtroopers.
hit them with like a taser or something,
Imperial
you could
troop-
short circuit them.
Yeah, think about how many times IG-88 had to get shot before it actually did any damage. The plasmas don't do anything, so you got to use something else.
I don't think I like
So
that.
that's the
I guess
gunplay.
in the world of Star Wars, though, we did have like the Clone Wars.
See, that's what I'm trying to think of. That's what I'm thinking about in my head. Like that
Yeah.
doesn't make that.
I wasn't putting myself. I was thinking like in real life. And
Yeah, real life,
in
you
the
make sense.
universe
But
of Star Wars, I guess there is some.
But
precedent.
these aren't the clone trooper droids. These are way after that. And
These
these
are different
droids, you shoot them with plasma, it's not doing
They're
anything.
better
So you
droids.
gotta
Delvin,
use,
let it go.
yes, better
okay,
droids.
so
Yeah. This
They-
is
they
in between
upgraded.
episodes.
This is Windows 12 droids.
Yeah, episode 4 and 6, I believe, or 4 and 5. This is in between. So yeah,
He's got
it's
the patch.
past clone. So yeah, that's the gunplay. That's the stealth. There's not a lot to it. The fighting mechanics, like the melee combat, is just like playing Uncharted, where you just keep pressing square. He throws a combo, and it
That
knocks
stuff
him
I
out
don't
or
mind.
whatnot. Yeah, so that is
So,
very similar. You can mix
The
it
only
up.
downside is that like one of the impressions that I picked up in my scrolling and viewing was somebody was like, "Yeah, I played this game for 12 hours, and it's been like 90% of it's been a stealth game." And I
Ooh,
was
A
like,
lot of it is.
really? That's a lot. That's
A
much
lot of it
bigger
is
ratio.
so
Because even
far.
Metal Gear, like if you're just tired of doing stealth, you can just be like, all right, let's just kick some ass now. Like you have that option.
yeah.
And I keep hearing in this game, it's like, yeah, but you don't.
It depends on the section. Like if it's a don't get caught section, you gotta just stealth it, hide in corners, go through vents, stuff like that. But when you're in like the more open world, like there's a lot of the little side missions. So if you're in the main missions, a lot of it is stealth based. If you're doing the side stuff, a lot of that you can just go in guns blazing. And
I wonder
decide
if
how
the
you wanna do that.
reviewers were maybe like Golden
They
Path
were
and-
trophying it. They were trophying
Yeah,
it.
maybe that's it.
Because I got to a point where I was like, crap, I'm out here in the world doing stuff, because it's the open world, especially the first planet. It's pretty massive, and there's a lot of stuff to do. And you're thinking, okay, I have to build up my reputation with these different factions. So let me do this side stuff to boost that up, so I'm able to complete some of these missions because I have a good standing. I can get into their section without having to stealth through or be thrown out.
There it is.
So you're doing
That sounds much better.
you're doing that, but then you realize, oh, I'm nowhere near doing any of the actual missions in the game to further the story.
Of course, it's
And then when
Ubisoft
you
game.
start doing that, you're like, oh crap,
Cool
I have
stuff.
to do that. So
Okay,
I
so
had to
that
go
makes
golden
a bit more
path.
sense then. That makes me feel maybe a little better about it. Because and I would imagine those side missions aren't, if you get caught, it's over. The side missions are the diversity. This is where you can.
Some
change
of
up
them
the
are,
gameplay.
some of them aren't. It just depends on the mission.
Sure.
Some of them are you can't. And if you have good standing with the faction, so let's say you're doing something for Crimson Dawn, and they're having you go into a Pike territory. Let's say you have good standing with both. You can kind of just walk into the Pike area before you get to a restricted area where you have to take stealth. If you go guns blazing, you're going to alert everybody, and it becomes way more difficult. And sometimes it ends up failing the mission. Sometimes you can just knock them out, because you have a stun gun too, which is helpful, but it takes forever for that thing to recharge.
Sure.
So it's easier to just stealth around, knock people out, and get whatever you need to get and get out. But you do have a little bit more diversity in being able to go loud, especially like when you're hitting the imp bases. If you're going to the imperial bases, that you can go loud. You're going to get attacked, and you're going to eventually get death troopers, and that's a lot more fun with like the actual like gunplay. Even though the gunplay isn't great, at least you have the option to be like, I'm going to try and murder everyone. And with that, you do get to pick up some of their weapons. So you can, much like Uncharted, they drop weapons, and there's certain ones you can pick up. If you fail a checkpoint or something, or you die and it sends you back, you lose that weapon. You go into a different room, sometimes you lose the weapon. If you change to your blaster, you drop that weapon and can no longer pick it up. And I've found most of those weapons aren't even fun to use. So
interesting.
Yeah.
So at least with Uncharted, people have always said things about the gameplay. It's always kind of not that important because the story's good. How's the story?
So I think the story is good. It's what keeps me playing. I enjoy the characters. I enjoy Kay as a character. Kay is kind of fun. She's a little unbelievable in the fact that like she's expected to do all these things, but she always seems very unsure of herself. Like as she's coming across, she doesn't have as much charm as you'd want from this character. But she's fun enough. Her and Nyx and her little fuzzy ball character. I don't even know what heck he's supposed to be. He's just a little companion.
Furby.
But
Ball.
they're little back and forth is kind of cool. I thought ND5 would have more involvement, but he just sits in the ship the entire time. So he's not even really involved in it. So you only get anything with him when he's calling you over comms to tell you about something or you go back to the ship. So there's no
ND5.
real ND5. He's
Indiana Jones.
I'm just gonna ignore him right now.
Like New Day.
So
ND5.
ND.
Yes, ND.
No.
In the letter N, like Negro, please. D is in
That's
Delvin
disappointing.
and the number 5.
That's disappointing.
So
No.
Negro Delvin 5. That's his name. He's a droid.
We'll never get another game.
That's true, actually. Like,
That shit is
not
dope.
just associate our game with Negro. We are actually never getting that. That's true.
It's too woke. It's too woke. Negro Delvin 5 is too woke. We're sorry, gamers. It's too woke.
Well,
But yeah, he just sits in the cockpit, and they just have back and forth. She's telling him, "You need to get this, go there. Don't do this, dummy." So I thought he'd be a little bit more involved, but he's not. He's just kind of in the ship. They do have a couple of like twists that I was not expecting, so that was cool. The characters are fun enough, just their interactions. But the game it's a heist game, and I don't think I got that at all from any of the marketing that I saw. Like I didn't realize it was going to be this giant heist. Like you're trying to pull off a heist and gather a crew. I didn't get that at all.
How? I thought that was the trailer. They talked about how you've got you're building like, your team to go and rob whoever.
I didn't expect that. I wasn't paying attention.
How long the game is? Because like I'm thinking big Ubisoft. Like, is this 40 hours of this, or is it much smaller?
You could. It's 20 hours. Like you can, if you golden path it, if you choffy the game, you're looking at 17 to 20 hours. Okay. If you really want to do the side stuff and all the different missions,
but if it's like big open world UB game, I can't do that for a stealth. That's too much.
Yeah, no.
I think I get tired of it after a while.
Yeah, you want to choffy this thing, you're looking at 17 hours probably max. Okay. But if you want to actually do all the side stuff, you're probably looking at 40 hours because I mean, just the first planet alone, I have so many missions to go back and do stuff there.
I love it.
And all of it is intriguing. So if you want to play,
that Ubisoft does is they deliver you value, and the sad part is it gets used against them. People shit on them all the time, but then they bitch about other games that don't deliver it. It's like people like obviously they aren't all the same people, but so often I feel like Ubisoft's they can't win. People are like, they keep doing the same thing. It's like, man, they're actually trying to give you as much game as they can for your $70. Like they're one of the few companies I feel like are doing it. You know.
Like I think the problem with a lot of the side stuff is that people are doing it expecting to get like better rewards or some kind of gear, and quite honestly, this game just isn't that. Like you're not really gonna get more components to maybe upgrade your stuff a little bit faster, but so far, like the gear system and stuff doesn't really make that much of a difference, especially if you're just playing stealth. I think some of the gear you find may help with having further distance out from being seen, being able to slow down time, stuff like that. As far as there's one thing where you can unlock where you can kind of be like, whoa, hey, and it gives you more time to react and then stun them or send Nyx after them or something like that. And I think some of the gear that you get kind of extends that. So there is that aspect to it. But again, you have to do like all the side stuff. And if you're just golden pathing it, you're going to miss out on a lot of that other stuff.
I didn't play
it. Kind of reminds me of Watch Dogs too.
Interesting.
Like for me, all the side stuff builds in to the story.
I haven't heard that comparison, but hearing you explain it, and hearing what I've heard about other people, that almost feels like the most apt comparison, because that is like kind of how Watch Dogs was.
Mm-hmm.
Watch
And
Dogs
that
was
is
very stealthy, and you could stun people and then go hide and stuff, but it was never meant to be like the Ubisoft action game. Like it, yeah. No, this game does sound a lot
so
like.
the way
I
I
never even
play
thought
this
about it.
is very similar to the way I played Watch Dogs 2. Because with Watch Dogs
Interesting.
2, I didn't kill anybody in that game. I
Right.
used just hacking. I just moved around. He'd use his stun gun, but the character didn't feel like he'd kill anybody, so I just didn't kill anybody. So I'm playing that kind of similar. And a lot of the side missions just kind of build into the story. And for me, the story of Watch Dogs was amazing. I love the characters. I love the story. And this kind of has me in that mode. Again, the game isn't doing anything game changing. It's not doing anything amazing from a stealth combat or puzzles area. It's not doing anything special there at all. It is literally just very, very basic in all of those realms. But if you like the Star Wars world and you want to do something that's not a Jedi power fantasy, it's really the gritty underworld. This game does that, and it gives you fun characters, and the story is interesting enough to make me want to keep going. Like, I'm not coming back to this game because I'm enthralled by the combat. I'm not coming back to this game because I'm enthralled by the stealth. But I am when I'm not playing it. I'm thinking about, man, what's going to happen next? Like, I kind of want to get back and see the story through. The story is compelling for me.
That's good.
The story and the characters compel me to want to be.
That's why we keep playing Uncharted. You don't play Uncharted because you can pistol the next 700th person that you kill.
Yeah.
You play Uncharted for the next cutscene. It's compelling.
Yep, I'm literally playing Uncharted to get to the next cutscene.
I'm
enjoying
Star
this
Wars
game
Outlaws,
more.
Watch Dogs,
and
there are a couple reviews that mention it. One in particular that comes up because none of them have it in the headline. There's like a Reddit thread that has it, but here it is: The Gamer, Star Wars Outlaws review. Watch Dogs meets Uncharted in a galaxy far away.
Okay.
Yep.
That's the
it's
headline.
It's very
Watch
similar.
Dogs is not something that I saw when the game came out, and I'm on threads and you see the people, they collect reviews and you see the impressions and the taglines. I never saw the word Watch Dogs, and to be honest with you, it's been so long since I heard Watch Dogs, I never even thought about it. But hearing you talk about it and how it is, and hearing what I've heard other people, dude, it's like a Star Wars skin of Watch Dogs. Like, that actually comes really close.
It's way more Watch Dogs 2 than anything else. It just is. It's just because you have a crew, you're collecting the rest of your players, and they all have a specific part to play in this heist. Driving, yeah. I mean, you're on a speeder, and the speeder's pretty cool. Like, the speeder is pretty cool.
Like, adhere to the road and everything.
Yeah, no, you can go wherever you want with the speeder, and the speeder has upgrades to where you can get a boost. You can make the speeder jump. So the speeder running around is fine. The one issue I have with the speeder is that you can't just shoot at people. So you get shot at, and while you're getting shot at, you just have to dodge until you unlock what's like her special. And then you press in, I think, both the joysticks, and it pulls up this mode where it slows down time. You get to mark certain characters. You hit the blast, and she like turns around all cool and shoots however many people you can tag at that time. And that's the only way you have any combat on the speeder bike. So I'd like to just be able to shoot people like whenever I wanted to, but you don't have that option.
You can only do that when it's cool.
You can only do that when you build up your meter. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to make it cool.
That meter is also in the regular combat. So if you're in a section where it's fully combat, like there was one section where I was breaking somebody out and I had to get out of there, and that turns into a fully combat section. So it's just all combat. And you got to just stay alive and shoot people. And eventually you build up her little cool meter to where you can do a little special move where you can kind of one shot kill everybody. You can also miss those shots, which is also a pain in the ass. But overall, like it's fun.
You was, how much Star Wars is it?
It's very Star Wars in the fact that you're dealing with like the Empire. Like all of that is talked about
showing up.
No. This is all Star Wars removed from anything
like
Jedi.
There is shit like off in its own thing.
Yeah, there's cameos from the like. Speaking of Solo, that's the funny part. There's two characters from like the Solo movie that show up. So Kira, if you haven't watched Solo, you don't know who Kira is, but she's a major player in Crimson Dawn, and she's a major player in the story. And then you also run into Lando Calrissian at some point. I haven't gotten
hell yeah, baby. 10 out of 10. Let's go.
But he's in the game at some point. I haven't run into him, but There's no Jedi, none of that. The Force, none of that is in this game. This is all the seedy underground. This is the 1313 that we wish we got. This kind of has those elements where you're dealing with the thugs, the gangsters, the criminals, the cartels. You're dealing with the Hutts,
It's the
the
universe,
Pikes.
but not the movies.
Yeah, and we're also in the outer rim planets. So all the planets that the Empire does not have a secure lock on, to where all of the gangsters can actually kind of, roam and
It's
do their
lawless.
thing. Just be it's lawless and just be, tyranny. So you have some Empire presence and you have the Empire like outposts and stuff like that, but it's more lawless. It's the Wild West, and the cartels are who's running it. So it's fun. I'm enjoying it. I definitely want to see it through. And yeah, if you're looking for a Star Wars game that is really dealing with just the universe, and you're dealing with the quartet, the cartels and the pirates and stuff like that, but not dealing with any of the Jedi stuff, this could be a game for you, especially if you're going into it looking for more story-based, fun-ish gameplay, nothing spectacular. Then this could be a game that you would enjoy, especially if you have a PC, because it runs really, really nice on PC, and you can rent it from Ubisoft Plus. If you don't want to spend $70, pay the $17 for a month with Ubisoft Plus, or on Xbox Ubisoft Plus, and throw down the $17, get the gold version, and just play it for a month and decide if you actually want to make that purchase or whatnot. So you do have that option on PC and Xbox, but it's fun. I'm enjoying it. It just doesn't do anything groundbreaking or spectacular.
Yeah, I was reading just now because I want to make sure it's set between Empire and Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, episode 5 and 6. I said in
so
between that. So that's why I said it's way ahead of the Clone Wars.
Yeah, so it's like
way past that.
It's in that dark era, so a lot of things sound like it's a good era to set games in. If you know that era of Star Wars, Empire is fucking winning.
Yep, it's definitely a great era, especially if you're going to deal with the outer rim planets that the Empire doesn't have as much presence on. You could actually do a whole lot with that. That's basically where Mando is. Like, Mando is in the outer rim, so there's just a lot more freedom. You're not bound to dealing with the Jedi and the rebellion and all that. There's a small rebellion aspect in it. At the very beginning, I haven't run back into it. But for the most part, yeah, I'm not dealing with anything Jedi. I'm not dealing with the rebels. This is all underground shady shit. You're a shady character doing shady stuff.
I was trying to figure out, because if it's set between Empire and Return of the Jedi, the rebels have kind of, spoilers for Empire Strikes Back, the rebels fucking lost. so they're like in hiding. I don't know how to say that, but yeah, it's like, so you won't see. Which is good, because you won't see the characters. Like, you won't see, I don't think you'd see Vader, I'm guessing. Obviously you won't see Han Solo. You wouldn't see Luke. So you can kind of, like you said about bringing up Kira. You can see characters like that, and that makes a lot more sense. Like, oh, that's a cool touch right there. You can bring up characters that we haven't really seen or touched in the Star Wars universe as much, So I'm kind of really excited for that part of it. Yep. And I didn't realize this game comes out Friday.
Yep.
I thought it,
unless you have it now.
Yeah,
it's early access. Yeah,
in my head, I was thinking it comes out Tuesday. In early access,
like next Tuesday.
Yeah, like old school. Yeah. So yeah, and I have it pre-ordered, so I'll be playing it Friday. So that's something for me to do. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I wish you had a PC to play it on versus the console jank version.
I have my Steam Deck and Ally.
Then no, that's
well,
that is not
technically
count.
This PC. This is a gaming PC right here. It's the Asus TUF Gaming A19 Advantage Edition.
Yeah, I don't believe it's gonna run anything. I don't.
Jesus.
But yeah, man, it's like I said, if you're looking for a fun story-based Star Wars game set in the outer rim where you're not dealing with Jedi, you're not dealing with the rebellion or anything like that. You want to get to like just the cartels and kind of the gangster shit. This is a fun game. It's fun.
I waited till while you was going to get really nerdy about the Star Wars stuff, Donnie. I did that.
I'm sorry.
I waited till while you were going to get really nerdy about the Star Wars stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Maker,
that was going to be my plan. I'd be playing it. It's just there's so much to play. So for me, it didn't make the cut. So I was always going to play it after Shadows, probably pick up Ubisoft Plus, and then
This would be a good January game for you, Donnie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like what I was thinking. Depending on how all the things, come out, I was like, I'll just wait for an open window and then I'll get in there and it'll be patched up. It'll be fixed. Did you answer Snurt's question about the patch?
I mean, I can't answer him about the patch because I'm not playing on a console, so I got nothing. It runs great on PC. I've had no problems. I've had no drops. I've had no crashes. Did you mention the news
story about the patch?
I didn't mention the news story about the patch because we hadn't gotten there yet. But I guess PS5 got a patch that broke everything. You got to start a new game.
So if you were one of the people that bought the early edition, if you bought the super expensive edition, you got an early access on PS5. Ubisoft today put out a push saying, hey, if you've started playing this game, we're going to need you to restart. Otherwise, your save will get corrupted. You get locked out. And to make up for this, they're giving people 100 Ubisoft points and a Trailblazer trinket in the game.
How much is 100 Ubisoft points? That's like $1.
Not enough.
It's not. It doesn't buy you anything.
It just gets you like skins and stuff.
$1?
Yeah.
You get this bullshit out my face.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty bad. I was like, oh man, come on, man.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. But
only because
PC runs great.
These are the people that
paid $100.
The expensive version. Do something. Give them a gift. Give them Watch Dogs or something. Like, do something.
Everybody has Watch Dogs. They've given a game so many times.
Like, because you had this.
That's penalizing me. That's a penalty. You don't want to penalize people by giving them Skull and Bones. That's wrong. That's egregious.
Upgrade their blaster for them. Like, give everybody free upgrades. Level 10 blaster.
A free month of Ubisoft Plus or something.
Doesn't go to
something.
That $1. Well, there's no Ubisoft Plus on PS5.
Imagine being so excited that you bought the most expensive version of the game so you could play as early as possible, and you're 10 or 20 hours in, only told to start over.
Start over.
In a stealth game, no less.
I'd be pissed.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be like, it's not the end of the world. At least they caught it early, like as soon as they could, I think.
No, I'd be pissed.
But I wouldn't be happy.
I'd be very upset.
Yeah.
Nah.
But Ubisoft doesn't want to give any money. They're not going to give any money or anything. Like, I understand that.
Give something.
Get a coupon.
Yeah.
Give a coupon. Hey, the next game you buy from us, $20 off. Do something.
Yeah.
Use this $20 coupon on any Ubisoft game you want to get.
Dying Light's like, yo, did you buy our expensive version of the game? Here's our next game. You get it for free. Yeah. Ubisoft's like, here's 100 points.
Didn't who was it? I think it was WWE or somebody. They gave us like Shaq Fu for free.
I remember that.
For the Switch,
I remember somebody giving Shaq Fu.
I have Shaq Fu, so maybe that's how I got it.
Yeah.
I don't recall buying Shaq Fu, but yeah, I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, they were like, hey, we know this game fucking sucks and we fucked up, so here's Shaq Fu as an apology. Like,
Shaq Fu.
What was the Valiant Hearts? They just put out Valiant Hearts. Give them Valiant Hearts.
Yeah, anything else.
Valiant Hearts is great. Let's do that.
I feel like you give me $1 as an insult. Like, bitch, don't keep this.
Yeah.
I gave you $100. You give me less than 1% of that back.
Damn.
Nah.
But yeah, if you have a PC, you have some nice graphics card. It runs really well. I've had no crashes. I've had no problems at all.
Avatar was really great on PC. Like whatever they're doing with was it Snowdrop?
I wouldn't figure that.
The Snowdrop engine.
Yeah, Snowdrop is doing really well on PC this year. Avatar was great on PC. Like really well.
It was really good on console too, which is even
that was
funny.
On my
such a miss.
That was on my older rig. I'm not talking about on this rig. That was my last rig, and it ran great. And looked incredible. Like I'll give it that. I wasn't that into it, but it looked amazing. Like it did look good.
Yeah, this game looks really, really nice.
See,
and they've put a lot of work into the visuals and the world.
That's half the battle.
It's really nice.
The game looks good, and the story's good. Like that's
the
good.
sound is also incredible.
See,
like I'm a big sound guy, and like the intro, like just the intro to the game, like I love that music is incredible. The way it drops, everything is great. When you're in the world, the music when you're like ramping up to do stuff is great. It's very Star Warsy. Hearing all the chatter all around. If you're out on a planet and like a TIE fighter comes by, like you can hear it and it sounds like it's going over you. The blasters, like everything it sounds like Star Wars. They did a fantastic job with the sound design. I absolutely love it. It's very it's very compelling. The sound design is really great. I love it. It's great. So
That's cool.
another plus for it.
You actually made me want to play it more.
Yeah, it's a good 7-8 for me if I had to give it a score. And that's like I said, if you're not looking for groundbreaking game design or combat or anything, you're looking
sadly, for a lot of people, a good 6 or 7 just isn't good enough anymore.
Yeah, yes. It's as long as you're not looking for something to be groundbreaking.
Yeah. Only 10s.
They only play gems.
Only gems. That's what you got to stand for. You know, you got to stand on business.
Either Game of the Year or stink. It stinks.
Yeah, it's shit.
This stinks.
Trash.
Which is why I don't like scores at all. I don't like giving scores to anything. Play this game if you want to play a Star Wars game that is not doing anything major in the combat, but has characters that are fun, and a story that makes you want to see it through to the end.
Yeah. Not all 7s are the same.
Yeah.
Some 7s are better than others.
I agree.
Yep.
So, yeah. I'm enjoying it. I'm going to go back to it. We'll see it through.
Good deal.
So thank you, Ubisoft, for providing us with that code. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Ubisoft partners.
Next time, send like 2. Maybe 3.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. You'd be lucky you got this one. They did give us the crew. So like we've been on a decent little run here with them.
Yeah, we have.
And I like the crew a lot. I wish more people played it. Like as much as I championed and campaigned for it, very few people went hands on with it. I know Josh didn't like it, and it sounds like I don't want to speak for him, but that was my recollection when he talked about it. I think if you're a PlayStation gamer and you look at something like Forza Horizon and you're like, I wish I could have some of that, I always tell them, like, you've got to pick up Crew Motorfest because it's every bit as good in my opinion. I love it. I think it's great. So, news time or anything? Delvin, you got any games or anything you want to talk about?
I got
no. We get to that news.
I watched AEW today.
I saw a little. I was watching some of it.
It's pretty bad.
I didn't watch it. I only saw the Hangman Swerve segment.
I watched the Hangman match, and I watched Moxley come back, and I watched something off. The vibe was weird. I don't know where they are, but it seemed very small, and it had like a small crowd feeling. You know, it had like a TNA feel. So Mox came out, and he's like doing this promo that you felt like should have like a big reaction, but it didn't. It was like it was off, especially coming off.
He's been gone for a while.
Especially coming off of like, that's what I'm saying. He's been gone. He comes out to like no cheer. It's not loud. Coming off of Wembley.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, this is odd. This is
and Wembley was a good show.
It was a bad decision to have this be that next show. Like, I like this shouldn't have been the place they had the next show at. You know, like they should have been somewhere, I think, bigger because it felt small.
I didn't watch it yet. I just saw it because I don't like watching wrestling if I know I have something to do. Because then I have to stop what I'm doing.
Let me know what you think. Because I'm not saying like I'd love to know if you're like, yeah, you just don't get it. I'm open to that. But let me know what you think. Because I watched for about 30 minutes and I was like, I'm gonna turn this off. Because I was like, I'm having like this is a bad experience.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna watch it. I'll watch it probably in the morning before I go to work.
Yeah, because I bought cable for football, so I've got cable television for the next couple months.
I might be getting rid of cable.
I can buy some stuff now. Well, I'll tell you this before you do: it's getting increasingly harder and harder to watch it without it. Like they are cracking down and really, really taking it places. You gotta have so many damn apps and so many different stuff you just can't get. A TV package.
I don't know if you guys listen to Cadillac yet, but I talked about how I got a VPN.
Yeah.
And I found out I can get AEW Plus.
Yeah, you can. There's a lot of things like that you can do.
They don't have that in the States, so I can just watch Dynamite on there.
Yeah,
Stream East, baby.
Yeah, if you want to jump through all those hoops, you can do that with a VPN. That's good stuff.
Yeah, like so I might not need cable anymore.
I was going to cancel all that stuff for Venue. Right? I talked about that. I was really excited for Venue. The court gave Venue an injunction, so they're not going to launch. I don't even know if they're ever going to be a thing now. So I canceled the Disney Plus bundle, which was $20 a month. I canceled my F1 subscription, which is $15 a month. And I picked up Sling, which is $55 a month. But if you factor in I was already paying $30 a month. It's like an extra $20, and I can at least I have Fox and I have ESPN and all the stuff, so I can at least watch those things.
I'm looking like this. Raw is going to Netflix very soon.
Well, yeah, I only do it because of football. Once football's over, it's over.
So if Raw's on Netflix and I got AEW Plus,
You're good.
and I can watch SpongeBob on Paramount Plus.
Well, see, AEW is supposed to have their. Where's this TV deal of theirs?
It's coming really soon.
I was for sure that they would just be rolled into Max or something. That there'd be a streaming element.
I think that's happening really soon.
Well, like your boy Tony keeps talking about how big it is. Bish is calling his bluff. He's like, yeah, it's not very good. I'm interested to see where this falls.
For what I've heard, it's at least double what they get now. At least double, which is it's going to make them immediately profitable.
Okay.
So that's good. That means we ain't got to worry about them going away.
That is good. That is a good thing.
Yeah.
In the news, which we don't have much of, so the show shouldn't be super long. IGN had an interview with Konami's Akamura, and they asked him about the often rumored Metal Gear Solid Collection Volume 2, and whether or not we might include the PlayStation 3 Metal Gear Solid 4. To which he had the following response, and I read a quote. We definitely are aware of this situation with Metal Gear Solid 4. Unfortunately, we can't say too much about that at the moment. With Volume 1 containing Metal Gear Solid 1 through 3, ... you can probably connect the dots. That was his answer to the question. Folks may remember when we were talking about this before Volume 1 launched, that data miners on the website had references to a Volume 2 collection, and that it supposedly at the time would include Metal Gear Solid 4, 5, and Peace Walker. So, Tokyo Game Show's in a month. Game Awards at the end of the year. We don't know anything about Metal Gear Solid Delta. It seems like from recent quotes, it does seem like that game is going to launch this year, which I've kind of written off for a while because it went so silent and we went so long without any date. I was like, this must not be coming out this year. But they recently were like, yeah, it'll be announced. They said something, it was like a quote, it's like, you'll be able to experience it later this year, which makes me think that Delta will probably get dated at Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah, I guess there was a big preview event for it, yeah?
Yeah, there was. A lot of people just went hands-on this week on it, I read the previews. I wouldn't call them mixed. They're almost all positive, but there are some people that are like, I wish they did more. It's a very faithful remake. Like, it is almost a one-to-one. I love the, again, so many times you can't win, right? So many people, I think, would have been furious if they changed anything.
Yeah.
If they had changed,
apparently people were really mad about the Twin Stakes version.
If they changed
of
one
Gear
thing without Kojima's involvement, people would have lost their ever-loving fucking minds. And then they make the best version that this game has ever been, and people are like, it's the same game. They should have done more. It's like, come on, guys.
Well, y'all wanted the same game.
We know gamers are fickle. We don't know. We can't be happy. We don't know how to just be joyous.
Be happy. Right. But yeah, so I think that's coming this year. And if I had to guess, it's late. It's like December.
The reason why we haven't heard a date is because it debuted at the Xbox show, but it's not going to make Xbox at launch. It's only going to be on PlayStation. So they had to delay as far as they could.
Wow.
Hey, I don't care where it is. I just want to play it. I don't give a fuck. So yeah, be on the lookout for Delta's date and then maybe an announcement for Volume 2, which I would expect next year.
Oh, when does Silent Hill come out?
At the end of the month.
Wow, that fast.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Silent Hill. I didn't even realize
it had its review push last week, and a lot of people loved it. By the way, they played like 2 hours of it, and they were like, "It's great." I was like, "Yeah." Johnny come lately. People have been shitting on Bloober for like 18 months. Like, man, let them cook. Give them a minute. I like Bloober Team. I feel like I go to bat for them. I don't know why they get so much shit. That's like a strange thing. I think they've made a lot of good games, and people just fucking hate them for some reason. I don't get it.
They do.
Because gamers are like me, and they like to hate. That's what it boils down to.
I just don't follow it enough. I think the medium really fucked with people. They just really,
that's the one.
And I
What was
guess
it compared to at the time? Wasn't there something else that came out around the similar time frame that was just better, like performance wise?
Ghostwire?
I don't think it was Ghostwire. I feel like there was something
I don't remember.
else that came out, and everybody was shitting on the medium
I do
because it
remember
didn't
people
run as
didn't
well.
like the medium because I know a lot of people were like, it's a PS2 game. It had like some
Yeah.
lot of camera scene. I like. Look, you're not ever going to hear me backtrack. I love the medium. And if you hated it, well, then we just won't see eye to eye because I thought it was great. I really liked it. So that's it. And I think maybe that's why I'm more positive on Bloober Team than everybody else, I guess. It's just because I really liked the medium. I thought it was really good. I've played a lot of horror games, and I don't think a lot of them are nearly as good as the medium. And that just is, it is what it is. So maybe that's just the difference between me and those people. I don't know. But yeah, Bloober gets a lot of hate. I've always believed in them, and I'm excited to see that it looks like they're going to pull this one off. I pre-ordered it. Like I'll be there on PlayStation day one. I'll be there.
And you've always said like, hey, they should make a Silent Hill game.
Yeah, they should, because that's what, when you play the medium, you're like, yeah, this is the people that should do this. Did you see the Silent Hill controllers that they're selling?
No, I have not.
They're selling custom Silent Hill controllers at GameStop. It's a GameStop exclusive. They say they're PC controllers. It looks like an Xbox controller. But they have like their own custom face, and it looks awesome. Like I'm struggling not to pre-order one.
Let me see this.
The last thing you need is yet another controller. But I don't know.
Damn, I didn't realize the medium was announced in 2012.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Jesus Christ.
So my thing was Bloober did the Blair Witch game, which I did not like as much. Kevin liked that one a lot. I didn't like the Blair Witch.
I like that one.
I think the medium is a much better game. That's kind of when the medium came out and I played it, I was like, oh, this is way better than Blair Witch. Blair Witch I thought was okay. That's the difference. I was like, it's all right. It's an average game. The medium I was like is better than that, and I'm hoping Silent Hill is the best of that, right? I would kind of go like Silent Hill. If Silent Hill's a 9, the medium's a 7, and then Blair Witch is like a 5. But you liked Blair Witch more than that?
I don't know. I enjoyed my time, but I did not finish it.
Yeah,
somebody spoiled the ending for me, and that got me mad.
Oh, really?
Like you,
I didn't finish it either. Anyway, Square Enix's and Final Fantasy's Yoshida did an interview this week where he talked to Eurogamer, and he had this quote to say. So with Final Fantasy 14 as a starting point, we do want to see more Square Enix games on Xbox, and there will be more of our titles released on Xbox. So I hope players will look forward to future things to come on that platform. Again, another statement said in the wake of Tokyo Game Show, which is about a month away. So there's lots of rumors swirling around Final Fantasy and Xbox, right? The PC version just released of 16. So you have to think maybe that's out there. Maybe Final Fantasy 7 is out there. The Final Fantasy people are excited about Final Fantasy showing up to Xbox, I guess.
It should be there.
You would think by now, especially if you're one of those folks waiting on 7. Good Lord, has it been?
I blame the
like 8 years or something? Like, come on.
Just give them Final Fantasy. They need to win.
Like at this point, why would you even, if you've been waiting this long, like that's on you. Like you did this to yourself.
I mean, there's people who are like, I'm only going to get this one console. I'm not going to play the PC or the PS5
if you
route.
cared that much about Final Fantasy, why did you pick that console to begin with?
Yeah. People make dumb decisions.
That is true.
That's true. But apparently Xbox might be getting some Final Fantasy announcements, and apparently that's supposed to be a big deal. I remember when 14 happened. There was a very funny moment. As much as I love Ryan and miss Ryan on the Xbox Drive a lot. Did you guys ever see that when Final Fantasy 14 was announced? I was podcasting with Sean, and Ryan recorded his reactions to Final Fantasy 14, and he's a huge fan. So we're watching Ryan's reaction to Final Fantasy 14 be announced for Xbox, and the whole time I'm shitting on it, live in real time, because he's not on the show. He's sitting in pre-recorded.
Good man.
He's like, guys, this is the Final Fantasy 14, and I was like, so what?
Good job. I appreciate
haven't you played this already anywhere else? If you're there is a and I'm not to say this for Ryan. Ryan is legit a Final Fantasy guy, so this isn't aimed at him at all.
Yes, it is.
There is like this deep desire amongst like Xbox personas, like influencers, I guess, for lack of a term. You know what I'm talking about? Like the people that have like the popular Twitters and podcast YouTube channels for Xbox. There's a deep desire amongst those people to have Final Fantasy. And I get it. They probably grew up playing Final Fantasy, but it's like, if you care that much to make videos about it and talk, like, why are you on Xbox? Like, that is a disconnect that I've never understood. I'm like, I don't fucking get why this is so important.
Because
it's never been there. It's a law.
And that's why.
It's like 4 cycles of this. Like, get over it.
Yeah, because Final Fantasy is that one thing that's not owned by PlayStation, that's always on PlayStation, Xbox. Like, why can't we have that? And they're like, no.
You know, people always want what they can't have. That's what it boils down
I guess
to.
you're right.
We had that conversation a couple weeks ago about the show. Before it became the Xbox, it was the greatest baseball game that ever existed. Now you'll hear a goddamn thing about it.
Nope,
you won't hear it.
Not even a little bit.
You won't see it on a roadmap or logos or nothing. Nobody mentions it anymore.
It's coming to PS Plus right now, and nobody cares.
Now that it's not exclusive, they have yeeted that shit. They're like, get it away from me. Yeah. Well, I've told you.
It's tainted meat. Tainted meat.
PlayStation fan, they love to play something other people can't. Like, it's a big
absolutely
part of adopting that platform. They're like, this
absolutely. You guys can't have Horizon. Fuck you.
You know, to counter my own point, it was a big deal when Persona games started showing up on other platforms. Like, that meant a lot to a lot of people. It made it mean a lot to a lot of people. So to counter my own point, maybe ruin my own point, I guess it might mean a lot for Final Fantasy to show up on Xbox. But like, again, if it's like 5 years later, what's the point?
It has to be the right Final Fantasy.
But if it's 5 years later, if they're getting Final Fantasy VII Remake now,
because it's like a relaunch, it's a re-hype cycle.
How long ago did Final Fantasy Remake hit PC?
A year ago, I think.
It was like 5 years ago.
The remake?
I know it wasn't that long. I know it wasn't that long.
It was like last year, right?
Yeah, a year ago. I feel like it's been a lot longer than that.
No, because it came out around the same time that that they added a little update to it.
It came out around the same time as
clearly tell how little
Crisis Core, didn't it?
Final Fantasy
came to
I would say it was probably before Crisis Core. I thought it came when it got the update, like the Yuffie edition or whatnot.
Integrate?
The Integrate. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
June 2022.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's like, not only could you have played it however many years ago, 6 years, when did it come to play? However many of the years ago that was. You could have played it 2 years ago on PC, and it's like, you're excited about coming to Xbox now? Like, come on.
I mean, these are your Xbox loyalists that are just waiting for just a drip of the Final Fantasy. You know, just
you might be right.
Please, sir, please give me another, just a little bit.
Yeah. It's just like in my head, and I'm not trying to shit on those people, and I'm not trying to shit on Xbox. In my head, all I'm doing is all I can do is portray how I think about it. If I cared that much about a game, I'd have a system that can play it. That's all. If literally, like, what did I say? What did I say for years? If fucking they make an Astrobot game, what did I say?
Getting the PlayStation.
I'd have a PlayStation. Because you know why? Because I love the game. Like, waiting out on a game that you love for some console shit doesn't make any sense to me. Fucking get something that can play the game you love. Like that.
I mean, it could also just be a financial thing where it's like, I can really only afford one.
Yeah, you're right.
And
you're right.
This has most of what I really want to play. There's this one other thing that I'm just hoping.
It's just not how
it comes over.
Works. It's just not how my brain works.
Look,
I'd buy an iPad for a game. I'd buy like whatever. If there's a game,
37 different ROG allies that can trade them through.
If there's a game I really want to play, I'll get something to play it. I'm not gonna just like, well, I'll wait 6 years for it to show up.
Look,
it's like that's
all I gotta say is this: Xbox fans, y'all had Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey, and ain't pay no attention to them shits.
Those are beloved games in the Xbox.
Those are great games.
But
I wanted them on PlayStation.
They love them, and they want them to come back. They want sequels and remakes. That's not real.
Y'all didn't give.
It's not they didn't give a shit, but they love them.
Y'all didn't give enough love to it.
The people who played them loved them. The Xbox as a whole didn't buy them.
Correct.
I don't think so. I don't think that's true.
How well did they sell? Especially in the market that they were actually geared at.
Well, I mean, did they outsell Gears? No, but how many do?
No. I mean, like, did they sell well in like the Japanese market where they were really
Oh,
trying to capture
Yeah,
customers?
that I don't know. Yeah,
Yes.
that I don't know. I can't.
And,
say.
and I think Blue Dragon was dope as fuck, and Lost Out 2 dope ass games that.
And I don't. So like, I feel like I'm Xbox gamer because I don't give a shit. I remember when they did that. I was like, yeah, I don't care. It's not why I bought this.
And I'm gonna say something.
I didn't buy this for this.
And I will
You
say
know,
to
it's
this
like,
day,
if
to
I
this
wanted to
day,
do that, I would do that.
if both those games were on PlayStation, those franchises will still be going.
See you, Tara.
You're probably right.
They still be going right now. We
Yeah, of
have
course,
Blue
because-
Dragon 37.
Yeah, because there's been no PlayStation RPG that that went away and has never been remade and not Delvin, what are you talking about? There's like 80 franchises in that same vein that just disappeared. I don't think that's true at all.
It's 100% true.
No, it's not.
Games of that caliber, those are good.
That caliber,
Listen,
like Shenmue.
Shenmue
brought
got
it back.
3.
They
got
brought it
3
back.
games.
Yeah.
And
Now, how did that go?
It still came back.
It went
Not
well
great.
enough to get a 3.
3.
Okay.
Blue Dragon didn't get 2.
It got 3 entries. That's something.
Agree to disagree. PlayStation has hiked the price of the PS5 in Japan
Of course they
by
did.
about $90 US. It's not just the console either this time. They've actually raised the price on everything. So their controllers have gone up. The PlayStation Portal has gone up. PSVR 2 costs more money today than it did yesterday. This is all being attributed to the value of the yen versus the dollar at the moment. That's like the big attribution, as everybody keeps pointing at. But this is, I think, the third time they've raised the price. But also, I read today, and I think this is maybe a more important factor because it's not just the currency conversion, because the yen is actually rebounding. If you look up most things in the last month, the yen is actually making comeback because the yen has been fluctuating a lot all year. So I think it would be very short-sighted to be like, oh, it's just because of the yen. I think a more important factor, maybe, I read this on Reddit. Reddit said that they're having a lot of trouble in Japan from other countries buying consoles in Japan because they're cheaper and then reselling them in other territories. And the people are buying the stock like by the truckload. So like China is just buying truckloads of PS5s in Japan because it's cheaper to buy them there than buy them in China. And then they bring them into China and then resell them for profit. So PlayStation is trying to cost correct to make sure that they're getting their money up front versus losing it on the back end in other territories, which I think might be more at play here than other things.
This is some bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't care how it goes down. It's some bullshit. This console is 4 years old. The price is not
It's just
supposed
gone
to
up.
go up.
It's just gone up.
It's
and
not
up
even
and
like
up
it's
and up and up.
they're treating it like it's a rare retro console and they just keep going up in price. This is bullshit.
Y'all keep letting PlayStation slide our ass. The price has to go up.
Hey, wait
Bitch,
till Xbox
please.
leaves. Wait till Xbox leaves. You think about what that might do when the console in other territories.
I've been saying that.
Let
Back
them
to
go.
the $600 console.
Oh well, I
We'll be
shared
lucky.
a funny. I shared
They
an
gonna be
image that I
like-
thought was funny in Discord, where this one user in Japan posted a picture of what the PlayStation 5 equates to in switches. So it was like the PlayStation 5 digital is like you could get 2 Switch OLEDs and a Joy-Con, and you could get like 6 Switch lights in a pair of Joy. I was like, holy shit. This is the funniest shit I've ever seen. Because it's one thing to be like, oh, it's cost conversion, it's only $500, the yen. When you put it in those terms, it's like you can have one of these or 3 of those. You're like, oh God.
You can buy a whole school full of switches. Like I can get your school switches.
Because then it's like it's more about your buying power. It's not so much about the current. And I didn't like that. Like, I'm not trying to act like I fucking know what the yen versus the dollar versus the pound is and all that sterling. I don't give a shit. But it does matter. I think it does matter, especially in Japan, where something like the Switch is very viable, very attainable. Like if you can play Persona and Final Fantasy and shit on it, and you can buy 2 of them versus a PS5, like that's real. That matters. You can't buy 2 Switches for a PS5 here. Like that's not the same. Those aren't equivalent.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't have Final Fantasy.
That's right. Final Fantasy. Well, it does. It does have Final Fantasy.
The Switch?
It does. Yeah. Yeah. It's got
14.
It's got 7.
It got
a
Crisis
bunch of
Core.
Final Fantasies. Huh?
Crisis Core is on Switch.
Crisis Core.
That's not the Final
Yeah.
Fantasy you want.
It's got the PS2 7, I think. It's got like the old one.
Yeah,
It does. It has that one too.
Hey, it's got it. You said it doesn't have it. It does.
It doesn't have that
fucking
ridiculous
play it.
collection. That's like $200.
There are a lot of Final Fantasies.
all the Nintendo Final Fantasies is what it has.
Because when it was announced, I was making so much fun of it, and Rebecca gets mad at me, but she doesn't like my Final Fantasy slander at all. She's like, "We like Final Fantasy." I was like, "No, the fuck, we don't."
It's like $200.
It's got Final Fantasy the Pixel remaster. It's got Final Fantasy 7. It has Final Fantasy 7 remastered. Final Fantasy, and it's got individual.
That's the original Final Fantasy remaster.
I'm just telling you what it has,
remake.
man.
Still there.
It has Crisis Core Reunion. It's got a bunch, dude. There's literally a page of this.
Yeah,
15.
Those are all the Final Fantasies that were on the
Minecraft
NES.
Final Fantasy. There's a whole fucking shitload of this stuff over there.
That's what the Nintendo people want. That's not the real.
It's got Cloud and Smash. Mic drop.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Can't even get Waluigi in Smash, but Cloud's there.
He's there. But
He's
it
no
is
Little Mac.
wild to hear. Could you imagine being told you need to pay more for PSVR 2? That rocked me. I was like,
That's
way.
insulting.
No way they raised the price of PSVR 2.
These bitches are really bold.
Like if I was a store, I would throw that shit out on the street. Like, y'all need to come get your shit. This is absolutely not. Oh, well, that's wild. The Portal is up to $240 US equivalent.
Portal's worth it.
$80. So
Portal's good.
yeah, the Portal took off. It really did. I think.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll get like I think that's going to be like the Black Friday thing. I don't know what they're going to do with the Pro, but I think you're going to get a Portal for like $150 Black Friday.
Oh, that's a good price.
Yeah, I think they're going to start to bring that down a little bit.
If Portal's $150 for Black Friday, my son may get one for Christmas.
I wonder if they bundle them. I wonder if you can get like a $550 PS5 plus Portal bundle or something.
That'd be good.
It'd move, right? Like a digital edition. Buy a PlayStation 5 digital and get like a Portal for $100. I can see something like that happening.
Yeah.
The overhead on a Portal has to be enormous. Like the margin on that thing has got to be through the roof.
Yeah.
It can't cost that much to make it. Like even with shipping and marketing, like they've just got to be like that's got to be one of their highest margin sellers, I think. So that was a good move by them.
Very good.
Speaking of PlayStation accessories, they launched the PlayStation Accessories app on PC, which now allows you to customize your settings and update your firmware for your PlayStation controllers directly on PC, which means you can bring the PlayStation Edge controller to PC and take all the advantage of the console that you could on PC.
I love that they act like they launched a new app. No, they updated the already existing firmware app.
Which was the firmware app, right? But now it has
It was just
new
an update
functionality and stuff.
Yeah, you can now adjust your Edge.
Foam Stars is going free to play this October.
I didn't realize that wasn't already free to play.
It should have been
It was
free to play.
like $30, right?
It must have been free with PS Plus because I'm like,
think
I
it
have
was.
that
No,
game.
it
I
was.
didn't
I
pay
think it
for it.
was. Yeah, it was free with PS Plus.
Which is dumb because you have to have PS Plus to play it. So who the hell is buying it?
People bought it. Well, I don't think a lot of people. Some
Sick
bought
people. That's who bought it.
So you buy the game, you buy PS Plus. It would have come free on. Wow. That's
it. The Nintendo Direct happened yesterday. We'll cover the whole thing in more detail on Switch, but did either of you see it? Anybody care? And you got anything you want to shout out for our listeners on this show?
I did not watch it yet. I watched.
Go watch the other show.
There's
There's a
answer.
Castlevania collection that was announced.
So
That's cool.
I tagged you in a couple games, Dublin. There's a class of Castlevania collection that was announced. Patrick Starfish has his own game that was announced.
I saw that. I saw you tag me in that.
Yeah, SpongeBob got his own game.
Hopefully not based off that whack ass Patrick Star show.
It's like an open world physics adventure game.
Okay,
Looks good. Doesn't look like some game mill stuff. Looks good.
I may check that out. Well, I'm definitely.
It was not my opinion. Like, we'll hear what Rebecca has to say, and I didn't think it was a good direct at all. I also was like my expectations were probably about as low as they could possibly.
Yeah, but didn't we say on the show like, oh, I don't know what to expect for something like this?
Yeah, like the sheer idea. So Nintendo has a couple branding, just like PlayStation, right? You have the showcase, you have the state of play. They mean different things. Nintendo has some of these things too, right? Nintendo has an indie direct, indie showcase, show world, whatever they call it. And then they have partner directs, which is like their third party thing. So for this direct, it was announced the day before, so very short window. And what they said was it's both. They're like, this is a combined indie and partner. You know what that means to me? This is a bunch of shit we shoved together because we didn't think we had enough for them to stand on their own. And that's what the direct was. It was like 40 games. There was a shit ton of games announced. Not many of them consequential, I think, for most people. I don't think anybody's gonna buy more than maybe 3 games out of that thing.
Yeah.
But there were a couple. There were notable things that I like. I'm definitely picking up the Castlevania game. The Castlevania collection is all the DS games. And
that's cool. I never played
and
those.
I'm kind of stepping on Shaq's toes here. So, but have you ever played Haunted Mansion?
Haunted Mansion. I don't think I have.
Haunted Mansion is an arcade game that predated Castlevania, but it's Castlevania. So they included that in the game. So the original arcade ROM for Haunted Mansion is in there, but then they have a Haunted Mansion like reimagined. It's like an updated graphics version of that old game. That's new.
Well, that's cool.
And so all of that is all in this bundle, and it's like $20. So it's pretty awesome. It's pretty cool. But it was that. It was a shit ton of ports, a shit ton. Like Nintendo is just really getting by like playing the hits. It's a shit ton of retro. And they're like, look at all these NES and Super Nintendo games we have for you. Like they're really doing a lot of that. There was like another fucking Capcom collection of games. Like it's a lot of that stuff. So I watched it. I tweeted. I retweeted all of everybody's stuff. I tried to do that stuff for Shaq.
It's just showing that we're closer and closer to that end.
So that is the thing. Like that's the big takeaway for some. I kind of agree, but like I still hold out reservation that we don't know anything. But everybody, like the takeaway was they're getting rid of all this shit off the plate so they can pave the way to show the Switch. I think that's maybe true. Like that's probably true. I do think that we're going to see the Switch soon. Like the new Switch. I think where it's gonna, like, if I had to guess, I think it might get announced before Halloween. But like I'm still reserved because I don't know that to be true. I think a lot of people are like, this is definitely happening. I'm like, yeah, that's how we get in trouble. Like that's how you end up chasing the damn Switch Pro for 4.5 years, right? So like I'm a little gun shy now after everything we've been through about the next system. Like I'm like, I don't know, I guess. But it does make sense to me. I still think they launch it in the first half of next year. And I think they got to show it to us soon because it's going to leak if they don't. But that's just my take. We'll see. The Dead by Daylight spin-off game, The Casting of Frank Stone, got a free demo that's out now ahead of its launch next week.
Oh, that's dope.
I put that in the notes just for you.
Oh, I can try that now.
What did you tell me about this game the last time we talked about it? Like I was like, that sounds cool, and then you said something about it. I was like, never mind. But I don't remember what that was.
Oh, I was telling you that it's basically what is called game? What is the damn company called again? I just went blank. But what is them damn people called?
Was it Supermassive?
Yeah, it's a Supermassive game with the characters from the other game.
I didn't realize that Dead by Daylight had like its own lore.
Yeah, it does. That's what it is. It's a Supermassive game with Dead by Daylight lore.
And it's a single player game though.
Single player game.
Interesting.
So basically,
I look forward to your review.
Yes.
You got to sell me on it. Like I'm not even going to try it until somebody.
But you're hit or miss.
Make a case for me to want to try this.
You're hit or miss on the Supermassive game, so I don't know if I can sell you on that.
Look, I'm more hit than miss on the Supermassive games. But like when they said they were making like a single player version of like Dead by Daylight, I expected like all the horror villains and shit to show up. Like the idea that it's not, I'm like, well then what are we doing here?
It's a story about
it's
this one
generic
horror villain.
Girl, generic brunette guy,
yes.
like
it's original really? Dead by Daylight characters and original with Supermassive storytelling.
Okay. I wish you
their gameplay.
I wish you the best. I hope it's good.
You know he's gonna love it.
Well, I like most of their games, so yeah.
I'll wait to hear from
You
Josh
like
and
most
Kyle.
games.
That is not
I'll wait
true
to
at
hear
all.
from Josh and Kyle then.
Yes. Josh,
Delvin, you like everything.
that is not true. We just talked about a game earlier I didn't like. That bullshit ass country game they tried to sell us.
That shit was
They tried to
it was
fool
jank
us.
as fuck. Like, dude, this is bad.
Okay, you like most games that aren't mobile games.
Jeff
That's
Grubb
true.
says he thinks a PlayStation State of Play is being planned for the end of September. He says the PlayStation 5 Pro is still on for this year.
I believe him. Trust
Okay,
the ground.
Jeff.
I do too. I'm actually kind of interested. Do they so like if it's at the end of the month September, like are they planning this to like coincide with Tokyo Game Show?
Probably.
I'm just like a little not look. I don't think it matters because I think it's going to sell either way, and that's probably the answer. But if they are going to launch a new console, which a Pro would be, man, it feels late. Like, why not show it sooner? Why wait so long?
They did the same thing with the Pro.
I know
Yeah.
they did. I know. It
The
just
PS4 Pro was like September announcement, launched in November.
Weird. It still feels weird to me. Like it's such
You
something
think
to
Sony
showcase, something to market, something to do.
I think Sony doesn't care, and they realize that they don't have to put things out a whole lot ahead of time to actually get. Yeah,
the Nintendo thing. They're like, we will just speak whatever we want, and people will buy it anyway.
I'm curious how much it's going to cost.
Spend all the money and do all the things.
Yep.
But I like it when they do, though. Don't you? Like I like the marketing. Tell me about it. Show me what I want to see. Mark Cerny come out, his dorky little hair, and be like, "Let me tell you about all the fucking rays we traced." You know, like I want the thing.
I think there's a very small portion of the public that actually likes that, and that's probably why they're like, we'll do it when we do it. Yeah, I know.
I like it.
I just think that we're in the minority of people who actually enjoy that.
You're probably right.
Yes.
I'm not gonna get it. I don't want a Pro. Like I'm not interested in the Pro. I'm just like interested as like I'm a gamer and I like hardware is cool. I like seeing shit about it. Tell me about it. Yeah. It's fun.
I'm not interested because it's like, do I buy a Pro or do I buy a better monitor?
Monitor. For sure.
I want the better monitor.
Definitely monitor. I remember we did this with Rob and Garrett. Like the monitor, your display, super important. That impacts every game you play. Every single one. From indie on up.
You know that
might be the most important thing you buy for your console or your PC is your damn display.
Probably gonna go down to a 1440p OLED.
Nice. I love it. That's really nice. A lot of PlayStation news this week. This is not really news. It's yet to be confirmed, but there was a leaked promotion graphic, speaking of marketing, for Lego Horizon that came out in the morning the Direct aired, stating that the game would come out November 14th. I took that. I was like, oh, so they're going to announce it during the Direct. They did it. It was shown to the Direct. There was a sizzle reel, and it was like Lego Horizon. Then it left. So this is yet to be confirmed, but this is real. Like, this is a real promotion, like, not like on a website, like printed promotion. And this game comes out on the 14th of November. I don't know why they're hanging on to it, but whatever.
Tokyo Game Show.
Maybe so. Yeah. It does seem like a lot of people are like, we'll just do it at Tokyo Game Show. Like, maybe Tokyo Game Show is going to be fucking awesome. It sounds like a lot of people are saving a lot of shit for Tokyo Game Show. It's kind of a surprise.
Yeah.
That's the news.
All right. Got a scoring update for Rude Days. He says, no one got the Star Wars Outlaws right as Delvin and Devin both went over. Downey wasn't on that show. Son of a bitch. Downey and Delvin got the under right on Concord. I wasn't on that show. And so the score is now Downey 35, Delvin 31, and Devin.
We didn't really talk about Concord.
29.
Concord is getting fucking curb stomped. Yeah. Like the people have it out for that game hard.
Which I don't understand because everybody that I've seen who actually played it really enjoys it.
Yeah, but that was the thing. Remember? Well, you don't remember because you weren't on. When that game was announced, I was on PSXP trying to defend that game. I was like, I don't understand why everybody's so fucking angry. The game looks pretty good. But it's one of those things. This is why marketing is important. Because the story on that game was wrote that day. And it sucks that people aren't going to play it and change their mind, but they're not. And like we've seen this happen before. For whatever reason, it got out into the zeitgeist that it was some copycat, soulless, whatever, and that is the story. That's what people ran with. and that sucks.
I just didn't understand what the point was. Like, I'm like, are they all one crew that's fighting amongst themselves? Like, I just didn't understand it. But it looked cool. I have no desire
Sound
to
like
play
you're
it.
getting sick, buddy.
Yep.
Getting the COVID.
I have no idea. I just started sneezing, and it's really annoying.
Yeah.
It's also
hope
been
not.
windy
For
out
your
here, so
sake,
it
I
could
hope
be allergies.
Yeah, but you've been out in the school. You've been shaking hands. You've been around the folks.
Oh, I have not been shaking hands. I don't do
You're
that.
in the room, like
Shaking hand and kissing babies.
You're walking
I was
by
already
people and
sniffly
stuff.
way before that. I
Okay.
started
Oh,
sniffling.
so you was
This is
passionate to them.
Possibly.
Even better.
Possibly.
Even better.
Possibly.
My wife was like, I don't understand how everybody in my house last week had COVID, and I skated through it. I understand how I did it, but they didn't.
I know how. It's that 80s fucking blood you have in you. Just made you immune to everything. You're like a fucking X-Men.
No, what it is my ability to hermit in my basement. People underestimate how much I like to be alone. Like,
I still have yet to get
isolate
COVID.
and distance. Don't fucking threaten me with a good time.
I would love to go back to the pandemic lockdown.
Oh,
I had a
was
blast.
built for that.
It was same. Me and my family, we enjoyed the hell out of it. I'd go back in a heartbeat.
Yeah, people at work, they're like, "That's crazy, Don." They're like, "You don't feel bad at all." I'm like, "Right?"
No, I don't want to go outside. I don't even want to see
what?
people.
You know,
when
I've got COVID, it's because I went to a conference or a seminar, or I went to the doctor. It's because I had to go out in public. That's when I have COVID.
Never gotten it. I still have yet to actually.
I actually don't get it from like when the kids have it because we isolate and we separate.
Yeah, my son was confined to his room for 4 days, and he was very sad about that.
And when my family got it, I bought 6 bottles of Lysol. Lysol the shit out of this house. I was killing that on every surface imaginable for like 8 days.
We did the same.
I remember when I got COVID. Like I was in it was like during the time where like there was social distancing, and I was in a bank making a deposit, and the old fuck behind me started coughing, and like, yeah, I got COVID.
Yeah, you know it. You're like, oh no.
Like, this fucker got me sick, and sure enough, that fucking got
Turn around, hit him with the Hogan.
You said social distancing like y'all did that in Florida. Stop it.
Y'all did social distancing.
That's true. That is
people.
facts.
I swear.
Talking about Wuhan and shit. I'm convinced that shit came from Florida.
Absolutely, 1000%.
I fucking hate these people down here. They like, yes, I do. With a passion.
Wait till GTA 6 comes out. He's gonna be like, these are my people.
Yeah, they're my people. They're my people, but they are pieces of shit.
He was like, this is us.
I can't tell you how many times I go in the store and I'm buying stuff and a motherfucker standing right next to me like, bitch, is you paying for this? Like, back up. Why are you so close to me?
That.
And it always happens. Like, why are you so close to me?
I hate that. I've had to tell somebody that because they'll get real close to. They seem to get real close to me when I'm at the like the ATM, like the register, like the machine.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, I'm paying. You don't need to be here. Like, stand at the back.
And getting closer isn't gonna make it go any faster.
Yes. It makes me want to punch you.
That's a pet peeve. The other day, I when my wife almost chopped her fucking finger off, I had such a day. I was in such a manic place. I went to Walmart that night to get spray paint because I was trying to like do some touch.
You're gonna spray NW on her back.
Right. I ended up splurging because I walked into Walmart and guess what they had at the front of the store? Giant Halloween section. So I ended up spending way more money than I ever wanted to when I went. There's a dude walking around like with his family, fucking just gat strapped right to his leg. And I was like, that's great. I love know they got fucking Frank over here ready to protect and serve at Walmart. I'm trying to check out the damn jack-o'-lanterns. Jesus Christ. It was huge fucking piece right there. And he just had it out full on display, you know, like leaning into it, you know. It's like, what a jackass.
Yeah.
If you're gonna carry, at least conceal it. Like, don't be walking around. Like, everybody else in the store doesn't need to see your gun.
Yeah.
You know, get over yourself.
Yeah. You don't look cool. You look stupid.
Definitely.
You look like an asshole.
Jack was like, he's carrying a gun. I'm like, yeah, we see it. Fucking Luger over here.
Right.
Fucking
jackass. All right. So True or false? Concord will either be in PS Plus or free to play before December 1st. Foam Stars recently went free to play after 6 months.
I'm actually torn on this one a little bit
So am I.
for two reasons. Any insight that we can pull from this game, from Concord, from like its Steam numbers and its general review cycle and how long it was in development, Sony's fucking eating shit on this game right now, just financially. It's got to be like an albatross.
Yeah.
And so it would make sense for you to go, okay, the natural thing is let's put it in PlayStation Plus and get some players going on it. But putting it in PlayStation Plus to try and juice the numbers would almost signal that you're going to support it. And I'm wondering if they just don't pull the plug. Because it would probably make more money. It would save them more money to pull the plug and not develop it than to reinvest and try and save it. Like, do you think you're going to like put it in PlayStation Plus and a year from now you get people buying stuff in it? Like, do you think you can jumpstart this game and get it back? Because if you don't, then I would pull the plug. So I'm actually going to give you guys the opportunity to get what I think might be favorable, more easy points. I'm going to say no.
I also was going to say no.
Oh, I am somewhat surprised.
I'm kind of feeling like,
because I feel like the easy money here is like, yeah, throw it in Plus and let's get what we can out of it while we can.
I think it will go on Plus, but I think it might be in December, like maybe late December, like in December. Like, yeah, there you go. The PlayStation Plus games for December. Here's Concord.
I got you. Yeah, because I'm wondering, and Sony's been rather cutthroat lately. You know, when things aren't working, they're not like trying to resurrect things. They're not trying to fix things. They cut Naughty Dog's thing before it ever came out. They're like, yeah, let's nix it.
Yeah, it's done. Yeah.
And I'm wondering with a game like this, because weren't they were supposed to make cutscenes like every month and stuff, and they're like they had like this whole roadmap. And I'm wondering if they're looking at this now, especially if it's not selling as well as it looks like it's not. I'm wondering if they're like, shut it off. We're gonna lose millions on this if we just turn it off. We'll refund anybody that bought it or not refund, like just turn it off. Just stop.
When is their first like Battle Pass update? Like, what's the roadmap?
Yeah, I don't follow it like that. I couldn't say.
Yeah,
because if it's not before December, they're not putting it in Plus.
I mean, Steam numbers aren't hard to go off of because it's not the console. You have to think there's more people on the console playing, but the Steam numbers are incredibly low.
Yeah,
they're in the hundreds. Like, I almost feel like any publisher of merit puts a game on Steam, you get a couple thousand people play it just because. Hundreds. That's crazy low. I feel like we could make a game and get a few hundred people playing it.
Yeah,
it's like, damn. It was like 600. It was like, yikes.
Yeah, 697 was the max.
Oh, that's bad. That's real bad. For Sony, for PlayStation, for that brand, that's not good. So that's kind of where I'm thinking.
I'm going with yes, even though I don't believe it, just because
that's a good counter pick. It's good.
I'm counter picking everything. I'm down so many points. I just don't care at this point.
I mean, I honestly think that's easy money because the easy play here is easily throw it in a Plus and let's try to get somebody playing it before it's too late. But here's the thing. I think it's too late. I think it might already be too late. Like it's probably already too late.
I think so too.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm rooting for them. Our PlayStation folks, we had Stingray in the chat. I would say our PlayStation folks, like our PlayStation
they enjoy it.
People, they like it.
They are. Again, I haven't seen anybody who's played the game say I don't like
You know what it reminds me of? Bleeding Edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. Bleeding Edge came out on Xbox
around launch, right? Like the series.
I'm trying to see what 2020, March 24th, 2020. Ninja Theory made a multiplayer game that was all melee based, and by all accounts, that was actually like people that played it even reviewed pretty well. Like people like just nobody played it. Like it
Yeah.
just found no audience, and it came and went and was gone before it could ever like really make an impact. And it was just weird. It was like super weird because the people that played it liked it. Even the reviewers, I wouldn't say they loved it, but they generally liked it. Like people generally was like, "This is fine." You know, much. They were more positive on it than Concord is right now, right? And yeah, it went nowhere, and that's kind of what this reminds me of.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Shame.
True or false? Switch 2 will get revealed this year.
True. I believe it will.
True.
They got to start
I'm
making
just-
them. That's the thing. That's the thing.
You
I
don't
keep
have to
coming back
announce it to make it.
No, they do, because once they start making it, it'll leak. It'll leak, and they've got to beat the leak. So I think they will
Yeah.
announce it. I don't know if they're going to do it. I think the earliest they could do it is Tokyo Game Show. I think they could do it there. I don't think they will. I think they could tease it there. I don't think they will. But I got a feeling something about me. October seems right. I don't know. It's just a hunch. It's just like a gut feeling. They could wait till the Game Awards and Rebecca's been saying the whole time that they would wait until the new year, January. And I could see that too, especially if they're going to launch in like May or June. I could totally see it. But there's lots of rumors going around right now that they're ordering parts. There's like manifestos, displays, adapters, things that they're about to start manufacturing. Like it seems like all signals are pointing to they're about to start fucking piecing these things together. And I think before one person puts one of their hands together on one in a factory somewhere, I think they'll announce it.
Delvin, what say you?
Yeah, I was saying. I agree.
I'm also going with false. Just, counter picking and also fuck the Switch. It can rot
It's
now.
gonna be great. It's gonna be so much fun, though.
Yeah.
You gotta get there. You can have you on Shack.
I'm
Come
good.
over, hang out with Rebecca and Delvin and I.
Yeah.
I'm good. No, thank
Oh
you.
man, you get you a new Sonic game.
I don't like Sonic.
Get you a new Mario game, new Mario
No.
Kart game.
No.
Best damn
Until-
Zelda Breath of the
until
Wild
we
you've ever
get
seen.
A very
60
violent,
frames.
very
Dev.
violent, ultra dark Link. I
Bring
don't
you
want
Astral
any parts of it.
Chain 2, baby. The game
Ooh.
you've been waiting on.
Woo.
Astral Chain.
Astral
good
Chain
game.
is the shit.
That sounds terrible.
Get you some
You're
Fire
just making
Emblem.
it worse.
Oh, it's gonna be
No.
so good. Final Fantasy 7 integrate. Fucking what's up?
I already have that.
Don't have it in portable though.
I don't like portables. I have the adult Nintendo console. It's called the PlayStation 5. It's the one for adults. Yeah. You guys can have your little child toy for the Switch. Enjoy it. I'm good.
Wow.
It'd be very fun. I'm excited. I'm very excited for like just new hardware. Like it's time. It'd be nice to get some more enthusiasm going into the gamer sphere because these consoles didn't do it and haven't done it for some time. It feels like everybody's ready to turn the page already.
I
you
agree.
know? So
Are they?
it'd be nice. I do think so. Yeah, I think a lot of
Yeah.
folks are ready to.
Are you,
What's
Delvin?
next?
You ready to buy a new PlayStation? New console?
I don't think they gave me a reason to buy the first one, honestly. like when in retrospect, I'm like,
that's it more than anything.
like in retrospect, I'm like I could have stayed at my PlayStation 4 and I'd have been fine.
Yeah.
Like
I think
most
I think the next PlayStation, if it can deliver on all the things that this one did and the performance, then I think a lot of people will be excited again. I think that's the thing.
I'll buy an OLED and a new graphics card. That's the hardware.
Switch
I'm looking
OLED.
for.
Hell yeah.
goddamn right.
Yeah. Welcome back, Dev. Our brother in arms.
I'm
About time,
ready to
boy.
leave. I'm quitting the show. I'm done. I'm fucking done here. More Switch questions. Over or under $398 for the Switch 2, assuming a price is revealed this year. Even if you guess false on it being revealed, you can still answer this question.
Okay, so I have a question that I would like the Rude. I'm gonna give you the play on both, but I'd like the Rude to issue a ruling here.
Okay.
In the event that Nintendo splits a SKU and they offer a handheld only option and then an option with the dock, are we
Yes.
pricing? I'm pricing the full system, everything included, like the dock.
Yeah,
and
let's do the full system.
the full system. Then I'll take the over. But I throw that out there because based on like the rumors we've seen about the dock, I don't expect Nintendo to do this because it's not their MO. But I just keep floating out the possibility of could they do a system at a cheaper price and then a system with the dock at a more expensive price. I could see it. I don't think they're going to, but I could see it. But if we're talking the full money, I think it's going to be at least $400. It's going to be $399 or more.
Okay.
There's a lot of Nintendo fans out there hoping for $299 or $349, and I just think you're off your rockers, especially as the PlayStation, Xbox prices keep going up. And Allies $800, fucking Steam Deck OLED $600. Like, there's no way. I think Nintendo's coming in at $300. Not a chance.
Delvin?
I don't want to agree, but I think he's right.
Yeah.
I think
Stingray says, I can see 500 honestly, and that's where I come back to I could see a handheld only at $399 and then a handheld dock controller combo at $500. I could.
I'm gonna say,
we'll
the dock and the console is $399. I don't think
The
they
what?
want to go too hot. The dock and the console is $399.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I think they want to go too high because kids do buy it. They know they're aware of their audience. They're like, all right, we can push it to $399.
And it's going to be older tech. It's not going to be as great as the Ally. It's not going to be that good. It's not going to be that expensive because it's not going to have the latest chip. The chip that they're using is like fucking 4 years old already.
Yeah.
You know, like Nintendo knows what they're doing, but they also know if they make it $400, people are going to buy. They'll literally sell them off the shelves. Like at $400, they won't be able to keep stock of them. So I dare say at $500, I bet they would sell out.
Yeah, they probably do good at 500. Yeah.
Yeah. At least for the first 20 million or so.
Especially considering at the end of the day, it's like, hey, this is a hybrid console. You can play it at home or you can take it with you.
I think there are 20 to 30 million diehard Nintendo fans that would buy it at almost any price. There are diehard Zelda and Mario fans that will just buy it. It's after that. And that's where Nintendo makes their money. Nintendo makes their money on, can we sell 100 million of these, not 20 million?
Yeah.
You know, so I think they'll be okay. But yeah, I agree with you. They're going to be affordable.
Yeah.
People are going to be like, and I know when they review it, people are going to be like, the Steam Deck runs X game at 4 frames more per second. The Ally does it twice as good. And Nintendo's be like, yeah, they're also twice as expensive. That's not what we're
also
doing
not
over
marketing
here.
to those people.
Yeah, that's not what we do. Like, we don't do that over here. Nobody gives a shit.
Right.
And
these
here's
are console
the thing.
gamers.
Here's the thing. Nintendo's absolutely right. The people that buy their stuff, they don't give a shit.
At all.
Have you seen Pokemon games for like the last 10 years?
It's been fucking terrible.
Nobody gives a shit.
What, like 12 frames per second?
They're literally selling $70 PS2 games.
Yeah.
They don't even know what frames per second is.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter. Resolution, what's that?
It just doesn't.
Yeah.
What's a pixel? I don't know.
If I noticed it, it's
You need to
bad.
talk to EA about that. I don't know why that game runs like shit. That's their problem, not our problem. Mario looks great. Yeah. So
I'm going with the under because why not?
Yeah.
$349. Let's go.
It's the Wii U's price.
Terrible system.
Isn't that what the OLED is now? Is it $350?
I
think it is.
Yeah, I think it is. So that's the price they're at now.
All right. It's question time. Smoking Joe says, question for the show. How does Star Wars Outlaws rank among other Star Wars games?
How the fuck would I know?
Better or worse than Rogue Squadron? Because that's the bar for me. Fucking Rogue Squadron and Rogue Squadron 2, man. That's as good as it's got.
I haven't played Rogue Squadron 1 or 2, so I can't answer that.
I'm being facetious. I didn't expect you would, but I would lose my shit if they were like HD remake Rogue Squadron. I'm like, oh my god!
I'm only going to compare it to, or only going to put it in the terms of like this generation, like newer Star Wars games.
Jedi.
So
Jedi Survival,
Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order. I think both of those games are better because they have a more direction of what they're trying to do. It's really the Jedi power fantasy. and the mechanics and the gameplay there is just better. Where Outlaws just doesn't hit on any of those areas, but it's good in the story. So I would say it ranks below those two, but I think it's better than whatever the there was a one game that was just all space combat.
Yeah.
You're talking about
What the hell was it called?
it's not Rogue Squadron.
No, it wasn't. I forget what it was called though.
I forgot
like
what it's
it.
called.
Fighters, but that's not right.
Yeah, something like that. But I have that one. It was pretty good. But I
Squadrons.
think this one, Squadrons, yeah,
That's right.
that one was pretty cool. But I would say this is like right there with that. Like,
Is
doesn't
it
do
better
anything
than the
groundbreaking.
Battlefield collection that launched earlier that was broken?
First of all, I don't even subscribe to those being real things.
Battlefront.
Those don't
That's right.
exist.
Sorry, Battlefront. The Battlefront collection was broke for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Not
even compare it to those
Aspire.
because those don't exist.
Is it better than what Aspire has done?
Anything's better than what Aspire's done.
Well, there you go. That's a solid game right there. Good job,
There you
Ubisoft.
Mm-hmm. Chris Becker says, "What's the first game that made you look at video games differently?"
Here we go again with Delvin.
Resident Evil.
Oh, pulled up a hot take. Got me off guard. I thought for sure we were about to hear about Clementine again.
No, the original Resident Evil.
Explain.
Playing it on PS1, and that whole first scene, because they didn't really have they didn't really have horror games like that. When you're walking through a mansion and shit, and then you see the zombie bite off the fucking head, like, oh, I was young, like this was unexpected. This is like a real fucking adult game. I felt like, oh, this games can be more than what it was. Like this is pretty cool. Just like that, playing games like that, and playing out Metal Gear Solid with the more mature themes that it had with that one. Like, okay,
Metal
this
Gear's
is
a good answer.
like this is more than what I was playing before.
Metal Gear, story wise, being in such like this espionage thriller, it's almost like you're watching a fucking movie. You're like, this is fucking crazy,
Yeah. Because even because I remember in my head, even playing games like Mortal Kombat and shit like that, it didn't feel adult. It just felt like silly. Like, oh, this is something that's like fun and
Duke
silly.
Nukem.
Duke Nukem. Yeah, they didn't feel like
boobs and blood and stuff, but it was. I wouldn't say
we
silly.
had Doom. Yeah.
I wasn't going to say silly, but I was going to say the games up until that. But like, if I was comparing against Metal Gear was like very cinematic and entertaining in a way that all those other games were still being built off of like the arcade era. Everything was still arcadey. It was about gameplay. It was about repetition, and like Metal Gear was like, no, we've actually laid out like a whole fucking saga for you to go through. And it's got like hidden things and meaning like that was kind of a bit different for me. Metal Gear is a really good answer.
Yeah. Like those two games I think of a lot. Like even the beginning of like Resident Evil when it starts off
I had
with
voice
like
acting and the music.
FMV
Yeah, I mean, it was very
the whole thing when you see
theatrical.
like the Starbucks getting killed. Joseph! Like, oh shit, this is real. Real bad acting, but it was like, oh, this is fucking dope.
It is good. My answer would be Ocarina.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Ocarina really opened. I mean, I was really young. So like it was also like one of my first experiences, right? Which like means more, right? You always love your first, right? As the saying goes. Ocarina really like blew my mind on like what games could be. To be like dropped in a world, and not just dropped in a world, because there were lots of games that were like big at the time, like for its time that were big that you could run around in. But to have the world as connected and like as cohesive as Ocarina was, to do something in one place that would impact you later down the road with a different character in a different place because of that, like have it all tied together, and the trading sequences and the NPCs and the time jump mechanic and being open world and all that, like that really, I can't tell you enough. I think of Ocarina like most people think of like Link to the Past.
Okay.
Like older people, like them, Link to the Past is that experience. To me, Ocarina is that same experience. It blew my mind. I was like, and I think I chased that high for years. Like I was constantly trying to find the next thing that was like Ocarina of Time. Because it changed my whole perspective on like what games, like what I wanted games to be, not what they could be, what I wanted them to be.
I regret not giving my joke answer now.
What's your joke answer?
Pong.
I mean, yeah, it would be a life-changing experience for you. It's first thing.
Did you see the and again we'll talk about it on Shaq, but did you see the Tetris announcement?
No, I didn't.
The Atari 50 people are back.
Oh, and they're doing Tetris?
We'll talk about it on Shaq, yeah.
Okay. That's interesting.
I love Tetris. Great game.
That's dope.
So there is, if you love Tetris, there's something coming for you, boy.
No. I just want the original. I don't want any of the extra shit.
That was also an announcement. The original Tetris is coming to the NSO.
Isn't it already? Oh no, the game. No, the Game Boy one is there, not the regular NES one. But I have the NES.
The NES version of Tetris is coming to Nintendo Switch Online.
Yes,
my son will be happy about that because he'd be playing the Game Boy one, and it's just.
That's the first one I played. Was Game Boy.
That is the first one I played. 100%.
I played the first.
I feel like Tetris like sold the Game Boy. Like that was the Game Boy.
Oh, it 100% did.
Yeah.
I wish I still had mine.
I didn't have a Game Boy
box and everything.
It was my aunt. My aunt had a Game Boy. She hated video games. She had a Game Boy and she fucking had Tetris, and she would let me play it sometimes. It was my first experience with a portable.
Played Tetris for a year straight.
Oh, she played it like no. Funny thing, she still has it. She found that shit like during COVID and called me and let me know. She's like,
Damn.
you know, I have this Game Boy.
Yeah.
I wish I still had mine.
She put batteries in and started playing Tetris.
That's awesome.
Like the Tetris card still fucking in it.
Boy, they used to make them consoles built to last.
It might as well have been like a Tiger Electronic. Like it's just one game.
Yeah.
It's not a
I
Game
still
Boy,
have
it's a
my
Tetris
Tetris
machine.
somewhere. My Game Boy Tetris. I have that somewhere because that was all I played on my my Game Boy Advance SP. That's all I played was Tetris, really. The game for me that made me look at games differently was Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
It was the first time a game actually made me feel anything. It was the first time I really paid attention to a story in a game and like connected with characters and was like, oh my God. Like that was the first time like my eyes were open to like this cinematic story experience with these characters that you're going on this super grand adventure, because before that it was really all blips and bloops and silliness. Like when you look at the Mortal Kombats or like Street Fighter, NBA Jam, there wasn't anything that really made you feel anything. It was just
there were games. Yeah. You were playing games.
Yeah. And this was the first time. And if I had played Metal Gear Solid before Final Fantasy VII, it would have been the reverse. But Final Fantasy VII came out first. I played that before I played Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, and that was the first time that I had ever really looked at games like, holy shit. And it's funny because I realized like I played Secret of Mana, which had an incredible story. I played Chrono Trigger, which was also a story-based like RPG, but I didn't own those games, so I didn't get to play them as much. And I think that if I had owned either of those, it probably would have been one of those first.
Yeah, I think I would have felt the same exact way as Delvin did about Resident Evil had I not played Clock Tower first.
Yeah, Resident Evil was I think Resident Evil might have been the first PS1 game I played when I bought it.
And I did love those. Clock Tower actually led me down that route. Yeah. Playing Clock Tower got me to Resident Evil, which got me to Parasite Eve, which got me to Dino Crisis. Like I played all that shit back then.
And yes, Captain Awesome, I have played Final Fantasy VII Remake. I love it.
One of these days, I'm gonna have to give it a run. Final Fantasy 16 is the one. I'm gonna try it one day. Like I am committed. I'm gonna give that game a real shot one day. There's gonna be a lull where I ain't got nothing to do, and I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna try to play my first Final Fantasy. I've never really played a game. I have zero. I couldn't name a character. I have no idea about anything. I played Tactics. I remember playing Final Fantasy Tactics some time ago. Only because of Smash. That's the only reason I can even name who the Cloud is.
Smash character Cloud.
He's the dude with the big ass sword.
Big ass Buster sword. Iconic. Kyle the Pug.
Fuck you, Kyle the Pug.
He wants to know who's been your favorite Star Wars Outlaws character so far. It's Kay. It's Kay Vess. She's my favorite character. The other characters aren't anywhere. That's the main character, yeah. The other ones aren't anywhere near as fleshed out as much. Like I said, Indy 5 just stays in the cockpit.
Yeah, Indy 5.
Let me ask you this. Not that I don't want to like venture down this route, but I'm sure you've seen it too. There are a lot of people that are showing like screenshots of her character model that look weird. Mm-hmm. Is that in the game? Like, is that like it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like during
Make
gameplay,
sure.
like see, like some of the characters
I
look
just
weird.
didn't
They
know
look
if like
a
they were
lot
like
better in cutscenes.
I didn't know if they were like taking her out of if they were like taken out of context.
Taken out
or
of
something.
context.
Yeah.
That
No,
happens a lot.
especially if it's on the console. The console version looks like shit in a lot of
Really?
areas, especially if it's on performance mode. Like it just doesn't look great.
Yeah.
And
we
again,
paid.
these are all before any patches, so I think that's part of it. And there's definitely been some times where like it just the quality just kind of drops or whatnot, and it just doesn't look as good. But it looks a lot better like in the cutscenes or whatnot.
Nice.
We paid $500 to still get shitty looking character models. Want my goddamn money back, PS5.
PlayStation's doing it. It's everybody
Yeah.
else. You know, like Ratchet looks amazing.
Yeah.
You know, like they're doing it. They're doing their thing.
It ain't working. They
It's
get everybody
everybody
else on the same.
Everybody
Get everybody else
else.
on the same on board. So this
Much
fucking
like
up.
everybody
Nintendo, you better talk to Ubisoft about
Yeah,
that. 'cause
exactly.
Ratchet
Yeah,
looks great.
Mario looks fucking amazing today. Still
Yeah.
looks great.
It
You know,
does.
fucking Smash and the 60 frames looks incredible.
Yeah.
You know, very true.
Yeah.
Just
Continuing
don't
with
talk about
Star
that
Wars
Peach game,
Outlaw
though.
stuff.
That Peach
Fuck
game
that
didn't look
Peach
so
game.
great.
Get out of here.
Princess Peach Showtime. I'm still surprised that people are like, "That's a good game."
Do Nintendo folks think any games are bad on their system?
It's not just them; the reviewers, like media.
Reviews
Like,
think
that's the
good.
thing. They'll hammer Outlaws for everything that isn't, and talk about how it's a 3 out of 10 and shit, and then they'll give Showtime like a 7.
Yeah.
You know, it's like these are not comparable, man. I hate judging a book by its cover, but I played the demo and I thought it was really bad. Honestly, I was like, this might be one of the worst Nintendo games that they've published in some time.
Wow.
People are hating on Donkey Kong versus Mario. I was like, shit, this is way better than that. But hey, that's why we all have opinions, right? Don't have to agree. It was just my take.
Yeah. Continue with more Star Wars Outlaw stuff. Haley says, "How cute is Nyx? I mean, he's a furry animal. I don't know.
Go Furby."
And she says, "And granted that I'm not that far in yet, but do you wish they have done more with him? I'm not big on companions in games, so I really don't care. I don't know what else they do with him. He can fetch stuff, he can distract people and attack people. I don't know what else I'd want him to do.
Play fetch. Can you pet him?
You can pet him, yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
You can pet the dog.
You can pet all the animals in the game. There's
Nice.
critters that run up to you. You can pet them. There's giant animals you can pet. And yeah, Nyx, you can go have him like click buttons. He can open doors. He can fetch stuff for you. He can steal things from people, but
Nice.
I like it. Thief dog.
Basically. Coach Mo says, since PSVG started, how are you different as a gamer? I went from never playing online with people to almost exclusively playing online with people back to only playing alone. Excited to hear what changes y'all have gone through as a gamer or through as gamers over the past 8 years-ish.
It's a nice reflective question from Coach. Hope you're doing well, dude.
Yeah.
Hope your daughter and everybody's good.
Yeah.
Well, when I got here, I played games. Now I don't. That is what changed. I do more podcasts, play less games. That's what happened.
Yeah.
I'd love to know what you think about me, Dev, because I saw this question come in earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think my playing style or choices have changed a whole lot.
I don't think they have either.
Yeah,
I think you're
I've
very
been
much
pretty-
still the same. You like a lot of the same stuff. You like a lot of a variety of games. You like going back to old stuff. I don't think you as a gamer has really changed. I think if anything, you've even grown in the fact that you just want more. Like you're really, I think, honed into just like gaming. Like you love the medium. You love everything about gaming and you just continue on that path. I don't think anything about your habits have changed. You've just been even, I think, just more in love with the medium as it continues on.
I feel like my opinion on gaming has softened a lot since when we first started. I think when we first started coming out of that era, I think I was harsher. I think maybe I was more of a severe critic back then.
I've softened you on that. I've whittled that away.
I was very much like, like this is what everyone's thinking, right? So like it's got to be true, and like what is the reason behind it and stuff. And I definitely think over the years I've led a lot of like, and just generally as I've just played a lot more things.
Mhm.
Uh,
I think you still will lean into this is what everybody's thinking, but it's not so much this is so must be true. It's what do you think of that? I think you
sure,
still have a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
those. You
yeah.
bring
Not
all of that
necessarily
to
like
it.
that's like it must be true. I guess that's not the right way of putting it. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I almost feel like when I think back of like maybe some of my earlier podcasts or my earlier opinions, I feel like there was like a naivety there that I didn't
Mhm.
have now. I feel more experienced, and I don't think maybe I'm as harsh on things. I think I realize now that like I think back then, actually, if I could rephrase, I think in 2013, 2009 to 2015, Donnie, I think I was very much of a the game's just a 6. I don't need to play it,
Mm.
you know, because they're better games to play. Because I
Mhm.
was choosier with where I was playing things. And I think over time, as I played more and more things, I'm like, yeah, this game is not the best game ever. But you know what?
It's
I'm
fun.
really liking it right now.
Mhm.
Like, and I think I try to find more nuance and bring more of that in, and less of like, the review scores. I think when I first started this, I think
Yep.
review scores mattered a lot. And I very much was like, well, where does this fit on the diagram of gaming for the year? And is this
Mhm.
worth my time? Is it worth my investment? Is it worth buying? And I think all of that has been whittled away. I do think debating you every day for 10 years has really changed that. I don't remember when, but there was a day, I think, where you and I just had like a drag out day
Mhm.
where I was like, that's it. I'm done with this. I'm not doing this anymore. And then
Yeah,
from that day, I don't know I don't remember what it
I
was,
remember that.
but it was like in 2016 or 17. From that day, I've really turned hard on that. Like I just don't do it anymore. I just stopped. I was like,
Dev
it
broke
doesn't
you.
matter. It's just kind of stupid. It doesn't matter anymore.
Good job, Dev.
Yep.
And
I totally remember that. It was basically about review scores and stuff. I was like,
and I
dude,
do think
just play
it's
the
when
fucking
I say
game.
like naivety, it's not even that. It's like I felt conditioned by like the media that I grew
Mhm.
up in.
Yeah,
Like Game Informer, watching everybody put numbers on games, equating that to value and to meaning, right? And being angry when my games didn't review well, or being angry when games I didn't
1000%.
like reviewed well and stuff like that, right? And then you follow like, you retrace that into the early media darlings, and you think of like the IGN podcast, which became kind of funny. And like, I felt like a lot of that perpetrated that stuff. Like that stuff kept getting echo chambered around. And I do think when we started PSVG, I was amongst them. And then
Mhm.
through the course of PSVG, I definitely stepped out. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yep.
I think that'd be the only thing that's changed. I still play the same games. I still play a lot of indie games. I still don't like multiplayer. I don't feel like my habits have changed much. There
Yeah.
are new games. Like I do attribute PSVG and finding other people, finding other opinions. I never played Far Cry until PSVG, and it's one of my favorite franchises. So I've
Mhm.
definitely branched out. I've taken on new things based on opinions. Forza is another one. I never played Forza. Forza's been around forever. I never and as an Xbox player, I always had access and just never wanted to. PSVG and being around folks here have definitely opened my eyes to new franchises.
Yeah.
But
And I
but
think that all goes hand in hand with like what I was trying to say of like you've just kind of expanded. Like you
yeah,
got away from like being so like caught up in the it's a 6, it doesn't waste it's not worth my time to the point where it's more like this looks cool. I don't care about the score. If it looks cool, let me try it out. Like you've just
yeah.
kind of expanded
Oh,
in
and
like what you'll
even then,
actually
before we
try.
started, I think I liked sixes. I think I just always argued that they weren't sixes.
Yeah.
And now I don't argue that they're not sixes. Now I'm like, oh, it's a 6.
it's a
It's
good
just
But
six.
fucking a
it's
really good
my
one, though.
6, damn it.
Yeah, like I think that's it. It's like, oh, it's a 6. It's just a really fucking good one. And I think
Yep.
in 2007, I was like trying to tell people, like, oh, no, No More Heroes is better than you think it is. And now I'm
Mhm.
like, yeah, it's not. It's a bunch of bullshit. Like it's a bunch of
But it's some
this
fun
shit
bullshit.
trying to be edgy and cool. I'm like, you know what? It's fucking awesome, though. Like it is
Mhm.
very different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, I've just gotten even pickier. And I think a lot of that has
I
to do
think
with just
that's definitely true.
it's time. Like I
think you went from playing like 30 games a year to like 20 games a year to like 12 games a year, like 4 games a year.
Yep. Yep. I just don't have the time that I used to have to be able to just dive into stuff. So now I'm just really picky with what I play. I'm like, and I've realized if I don't get it day one, I didn't care about it that much, and I'm never gonna play it because I have so many games that just sat unplayed that I just never got around to, and I'm not the
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and pick that up because I'm probably more interested in this. So I've just realized like I'm very, very picky with what I'm going to play because I am so limited on like the amount of time that I can put into stuff that I'm only gonna pick up the stuff that I really know that I want to play. So I've just gotten very choosy. Like I know what I like. I know what I don't like. I can very easily say like I'm not gonna like this game. I don't need to waste any time into it or put any time into it. And just pick and choose the things that I really know that I'm gonna enjoy. And I can say that I haven't played anything in the last probably 5 years that I didn't like. So yeah,
There you go. So it worked.
Yeah.
great question, Mo.
Yeah. I think I've grown a lot more as like a person than as a gamer.
I would hope we all have.
You would hope.
That
But
would
you'd
be
be
the hope.
surprised at
Not
I would hope.
everybody
you'd be
does that.
surprised at how little, some
That is
you
true.
grow. Not everybody, I feel like I'm so much more introspective today than I think I ever was then.
Yeah. In order to grow, you have to be willing to listen to somebody else say some shit to you and really listen.
I think if I was to go back and listen to any of our old stuff, I think I'd probably hate it. I do.
Yeah.
I do think and a part of it, like doing this, when we started doing this, I think I was trying to emulate what everybody else had done versus like trying to do something else.
Yeah.
Or not something
we
else,
all
but
were.
just something my own, like trying to do like now I feel like the last few years, I don't think this is a new thing by any means. I think the last few years really settled into like, no, this is what we do.
Yep.
Like, this is what I want to do. Whether it's popular or not, whether it's trend chasing or not, like that's all irrelevant. And honestly, it's meaningless. Irrelevant's not even the right word. It
1,000%.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
I don't care. And that's not a new thing. I think we've been on that chapter for some time now. Yeah, that's been many years in the makings. But I think maybe like the first 3 years, I was chasing that ring like everybody else. Like I was like, I can do that thing that everybody else is doing. And at some point, I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. We realized we had our own thing and like, let's just do us. Let's stop trying to chase or be like all the other podcasts.
Could you imagine if we were
have our
still
own
like
thing.
running a website and trying to do reviews and trying to do the cycles and trying to do the videos and like,
Yeah. I
it's
think
just not
the
us.
whole
It's not our thing.
MBK thing, the Make Us Better
And-
merger thing is what
But
made
here's
us
the
realize
crazy
fuck
thing.
that.
We were doing all of that with like this goal of like, oh, but we could get put on press releases and we could get games and we could do this thing. We're doing all of that now. Doing so much less than we were ever doing then.
Pretty much.
Yep.
That's
Just
the
being
funny
ourselves.
part. That is the funny part. It's like, yeah, like back then we were like, if we do everything and do all these things, it will mean this. And it's like, yeah, that didn't mean anything.
Nope.
Now we're not doing any of those things and we're still doing all those things. So crazy how that works out.
Yep.
And
like
even now, if somebody's like,
said,
hey,
be yourself.
Yeah, because even now, like if there's a game that I like, let's say there's a game that I'm really interested in, because I don't ask for review codes unless it's something that like I want to review that. When I reach out to them, I let them know like, hey, this is what we do. We are a podcasting outlet. We do podcasts on these days. And during this week, I promise that we'll talk about your game. And that's it. I'm not like, we're not gonna write a review. We don't have a blog. We're not gonna do a video. Like none of like, then we're just gonna put it on the podcast. And if a developer is like, yeah, we're not gonna do that, I'm like, that's totally fine. I'll just buy the game. Back then I was like, I will make 10,000 pages if you let us review your game. Some of those memories, man. It's not that long.
Yeah. It really
it's not that long ago, but boy, does it feel
Mhm.
like a long ass time ago.
Yeah.
You know, that's so many. It feels like so many eras between now and then.
Yeah.
Like I think of my life in seasons, and that's a lot of seasons ago, and that's crazy. But for me, like it's true. If I was like to map them out into like chapters, as many chapters ago for me.
Yeah.
Like I had like my childhood chapter, I had my high school chapter, I had my like becoming a parent, like marriage chapter, and I have multiple chapters of this. Right? There's almost as many chapters of this as there are those. You know, so like
Yeah.
I think in that way it feels a long time ago.
It definitely does. Like I think back to like just Uncharted 4. Like that feels
Yeah.
like it was so long
Did
ago,
you
but
guys see when I
that was
posted
the
that tweet?
beginning.
How hard did that hit?
Oh,
It's like happy
God.
10 years. I was like, what?
Wow.
Ow!
Like we've been
That's
doing this a long time.
that's
I'm
assault. I would like to
old.
report a crime. Dear goodness. You know what I passed today on Threads? Somebody was like, we're so close to the Wii U being 2 generations ago. I was like, oh, right in the heart. Like right in the heart. Damn.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Back to some more Star Wars Outlaw stuff. TPR says, "How was the ship combat and traversal? I'm really looking forward to dogfighting and hitting a button to go
I forgot all about
light
that.
speed to warp into new space systems."
Kinda
This is
cool,
not the game for you.
Uh-oh.
Like
Oof. Right in the heart.
there's
Yeah.
space. You can definitely leave a planet and go up into space, and there's just not a lot to do there. It's really you go into space and you're just like collecting things in space. You can get into a dogfight, and the
It's not
dogfighting
like
it just
Starlink.
no, it's not like
Okay.
Starlink, and it's not the space combat is fine. It's nothing to write home about.
Is it
I
like
mean, you have a
Legos
lock
Star
on.
Wars combat in space?
I have no idea. I haven't played any Lego Combat Star Wars, so I have no idea.
So that's pretty fun.
But I mean, yeah, you go into space, you get into a couple of space battles. I've only had to actually do it a couple of times, but you can just like fly around in space. You can only go to a couple of different systems via light speed, and that's just the main planets that you're going to recruit your players or whatnot. And around those planets, you have like there's one that has like a nebula where there's just a bunch of space junk, and you're collecting space junk, and you may see somebody that you can engage and fight if you want to collect more space junk, but you don't have to.
So
And
you're a garbage
it's
fight.
yeah, it's very basic. You have a lock
I
on
understand
to
why that's
engage.
Starlink.
Yeah, engage in fighter, engage in
But
mode
you
where you
can't
can
like
actually
explore the galaxy and just
no,
do whatever you
no,
okay.
no. There's no just exploring the
That's
galaxy.
what I was thinking. It's not like Starfield.
No. Yeah, that's not what this is. It looks cool when you do it though, like jumping, like taking off and being in space and flying around and hitting the light speed button like that. It looks cool, but there's just not a whole lot to it.
Wow.
Even like landing on the planet, they made it seem like you really have control over like the landing,
Like Starlink.
but yeah, you don't.
It's a cutscene.
You basically get in. You basically get close enough to a planet. It was like initiate landing sequence, and then you fly through fog, and then you pull up on the planet, and it's the same thing, the same fog for every single planet, and you're not controlling it.
A lot of these fall planets are cloudy, I guess.
Yeah.
It's atmosphere.
Yeah.
Global warming.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
A lot of marijuana smoke.
Think about the carbon emissions the fucking Millennium Falcon has. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot.
Good
Yeah.
point.
Tyler Kopp says, I want to ask you guys on your opinion on Indiana Jones and other titles going to the PS5.
You picked
My
the
thoughts
wrong
are,
Indiana Jones.
doesn't Microsoft lose money on every console they sell? Wouldn't they be making more money off the games on PS5 and Switch than shipping consoles to stores?
A couple things. They're making more money shipping games on other platforms, regardless of irrelevant. The console, just omit that. Shipping your game in more places means you will sell more of that game. Just period. This is what I said when they announced the 4. Like, we're gonna learn. What did I say? I was like, yeah, I know.
We're gonna
I know
learn
what you're
that we're
gonna
gonna make
learn.
more money.
Right? Like I know what you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn Hi-Fi Rush sold more copies. That's what you're gonna learn. That's not hard to figure out. And it's not necessarily about the cost of the console. I do think Xbox has said, like I think every console maker says they lose money on consoles sold. How much of that is true? I would love a scientific way of actually proving that, because especially at this point in the console, I gotta argue that no, I don't think Xbox is losing money sold. Definitely not on the Series S. Like right, like no, like I can't imagine that's the case.
Like you said last week, the Series S is keeping the lights on.
It is, and it's so funny to see how many people dunk on that thing. And I'm not defending it just because I got it, because I made fun of it too when it was announced. I was like, yeah, nobody wants that. I want the ray tracing and all that. And I do understand that Series S does have its own quirks that you have to develop around. But people are like, the Series S is killing the console because it's holding back games. But it's like, their examples of that are like 2 games out of thousands. They don't have like a
Baldur's
deep
Gate
roster.
and Wukong.
Right. It's like a couple games. And I think that is severely underestimating the point that the Series S in all actuality is outselling the Series X at least 2-1, and I think it's like 3 or 4-1. Like they are selling way more. Like if I would love to know the numbers. Xbox is not going to tell us anymore because they're so low. But if they've sold 3 million series consoles, man, I guarantee you at least 18, if not 20 of them are Series S's. Like it completely outweighs the X, right? But the console part, it's not so much it's not the point, at least that I was making, and which maybe doesn't answer your question, Tyler, because I don't really care about what makes them the most money. Because you know what would make them the most money? Going completely third party. Like that's the point I've said. Like if you're about that, if that's the focus, then say it and do it. My point is that both. That's the part that I don't like. The part is that, like Xbox says, like Phil said, what did he say? Like their new thing that they love to say is, we're about reaching more gamers. Well, then reach more gamers. Like that's the thing that I don't like, is that nobody ever calls them on this bullshit that they talk about. Like just then call them on it. Then ask them, why is it a timed exclusive then? Why not launch Indiana Jones on the same fucking day? If your goal is about reaching more consumers, then reach more. And their answer would be well, we have a console. Well, what you're doing isn't justifying the console. Again, they're in the middle. They're caught between. So pick one, like figure it out. It's obvious that the money that they stand to gain by being multi-platform outweighs the money that they think they can get by enhancing their own platform. And ultimately, as I've always said, to say it one more time, I don't care. I've made peace with where Xbox is the marketplace for many, many years now. I know I created an Xbox empire, and I know that I've done that, and I am an Xbox fan and continue to be. I don't care if they win the console war. I really don't. What I care about is that they're doing things that I think are good for Game Pass and good for their ecosystem. And I think this both thing that they're doing, I think it's biting your nose off to spite your face. They're going to be like, look, we've got people buying our games on PlayStation. It's like, yeah, today, and that is going to attribute to less consoles sold tomorrow. What are you doing about that? And your answer is to ship more games on PlayStation. Then it comes back to what I said 2 years ago. I think I've said this even before they started shipping games on other consoles. I was saying, then just put everything on everywhere, because it's weird. Minecraft is everywhere. Call of Duty is everywhere. Doom is everywhere, and it's coming out day and date. But Indiana Jones is a timed exclusive, and Hi-Fi Rush came a year later, and we don't know if Starfield's going to come. Apparently, Starfield's an exclusive. And what did I say before? Gears of War and Halo's exclusive. How great could Gears of War and Halo be if they weren't exclusive? Like, how massive could, like, it doesn't make any sense. It just does. Nothing that you're saying checks out. What it sounds like you're saying is whatever fits your narrative in that particular day. And that's the only thing I don't like. It's like, man, just do it then. Like if this is the path ahead, then let's get on with it. Let's fucking get on with it. And I realize why they don't. I'm not stupid. I know they're not. They just sold this console. They're still in this generation. They're not going to do that right now. I know. But I feel like they should be asked. Like it's right there. Like it's like in my head, it's in like big neon lights. The fucking question is just begging to be asked. Like he's like, yeah, we care about growing gaming and reaching more gamers. Then the obvious question is, why isn't Indiana Jones shipping day one on date like Call of Duty? It's right there.
I
Make
wonder
them
if
answer
they're
that
just
question.
if before they can ask that question, if they're given a specific set of things they
Oh,
can't
I think they are.
ask.
No, I think they are.
Probably.
But again, it's really not so much that like IG didn't ask the question. It's really that people online aren't asking the question. Like they're not thinking. Like it's really that's it. It's not so much that Phil's not answering that question. It's that gamers that say that they follow this medium that are chiming in there, they're not saying it. They're not seeing it. You know, like when I tell people like, hey, you can't say I don't care if Xbox doesn't sell consoles. I want everybody to play these games. That's a really nice thing to say, but that you are disconnecting the reality that has impacts for Game Pass. So what does that mean? Do you care about that? Because I do. As a Game Pass subscriber, I do. And I'm not saying that I don't want them to ship the game somewhere else. I just want to know what they're doing about what is the plan for Game Pass in a future where the consoles that are already not selling enough are selling even less. What's that plan? What does that look like? You know, like that's all. That's all. I'm not like selling my Xbox. I'm not shipping off my stock. I'm not mad. I'm not angry. I just want to know. And I just feel like it's weird on both fronts. I see it on both places. There are people that are like, I just want people to play more games. It's like, well, you're just spinning positivity for no reason. Like you're not being, I think, honest, like with yourself. And then on the other side, it's like, why isn't anybody asking? Okay, if you want to reach more gamers, if you're going to take this hippie mentality and be like, peace, love, man, it's all good. Like console wars are dumb. Okay, then console wars are dumb. Then start putting shit on my Switch then, and I'll buy it there. Because that's where I'd like to play most of these things anyway.
I wonder if they're looking at it like we're trying to give you games to show you that you could have this in Game Pass, and I'm wondering if they make more money on the game sale, like PlayStation will make more money on the game sale itself than taking a cut of
I don't think we can know that. I honestly don't think that's even possible to be known until they ship day and date on PlayStation.
Yeah.
The idea that you're gonna we're gonna bring Indiana Jones 3 months later, you're not really testing that theory. Because the most you would sell that game is day one. The most. It's not like I believe this to be true. I don't think it's like doesn't matter. I don't think you can say we're gonna ship Indiana Jones on PC and Xbox, and then 4 months later we'll bring it to PlayStation. I don't think you're still selling the same amount of PlayStation copies. Because there is a thing that people like playing the game on day one.
Yeah.
And by the time it arrives, it's old. Like with Hi-Fi Rush, Hi-Fi Rush. They're like, it didn't really sell that well. It's like, yeah, it was a year later.
I mean,
that's
didn't
real.
we learn this already with Tomb Raider, the second Tomb Raider?
We
learned this already, right?
Exactly. And that's my only point. That's really my only point. And yeah, so like, and here's it. Do they just spent 70 billion? Who cares how much money they make? I'm not here trying to, my dad can make more money than your dad. Who gives a fuck? I don't give a shit about Microsoft shareholders or Satya Nadella's dividends or Phil Spencer's bonuses. I bought into an ecosystem off the promise that they sold me. We bought all these studios, and he said it. It's not a fact. It's not like I put a false belief in them to provide you more exclusive content for Game Pass, right? That's what they sold us on. And I talked to Sean about this on Sweet Hangs, I think a month or two ago, maybe 3. I was like, dude, think about it. When they sold us the console, they sold it to us on Infinite and Starfield and all these games and all these in these roadmaps. I'm like, we're 5 years into this and half these games haven't even come out yet. They've literally sold us a whole console on like something that may not even be true. Like we're assuming Gears of War E-Day, right? Like from their showcase, Gears of War E-Day, like it looks awesome. It's super hyped. Is that even coming out on this console? Does anybody know that? I don't know that to be true.
Yeah.
Like I bought a whole box for this, and that's my like Fable. We think Fable's next year. Are we sure it doesn't get delayed? Are you positive? You can't be. And so what I said before is I just want to know what I can expect from them. And that's what
Right.
I meant earlier, and maybe this is a better way of reputting it. When we were talking about this on the episode with Indiana Jones stuff, was that last week or the week? I don't remember which week it was, but
Last week.
I was like, I don't understand how you could recommend this console versus any other option right now. My point was that recommendation just really has no concrete weight to it right now. If you come to me, just Joe Gamer, Jill Gamer, Donnie, what should I buy November 1st, 2026? Brand new consoles, just all of them. I'm going to go, well, if you buy a Switch, I can guarantee you're going to get 6 to 8 exclusives a year, a lot of third-party ports, a lot of indie support. It's going to be a great console. You're going to get your money's worth. And if you get a PlayStation 5, I'm like, you're going to get some of the best blockbuster video games you've ever seen. And maybe you don't get 10 of them, but the 3 or 4 that you get a year, I guarantee you're going to be amazing. You're going to get the best of third party. If you get a PC, you're going to get the best of most everything. And maybe it's not on the same day, but you're going to have the best performance, the best return on your investment. Like, it's going to be great. If you're going to Xbox, like, well, you've got Game Pass. And those games are going to be available like literally everywhere else. And that's it. Like, honestly, I can't tell you that it's going to be the best place to play, the world's most powerful console that I put in quotes.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what to expect from that. I can't tell you that these games will be exclusive, that they're not. I can't tell you that they'll even like the early access, right? Like the games are going everywhere. Like, that's the thing. By doing this strategy that they're doing, they have a really hard time making a promise to anyone else of what that means. And that's the console business. That is the console business. So what I've been arguing, that's what I've been arguing, right? This is before the 4 games. This has been for some time now. I've been on this path, I think, for a couple years now. Then just go third party. Like, it's better for everybody involved if you just do that. Because right now, how much faith can I put into what the promise is that you're making me? Because that's the console business. The console business isn't just we make cheaper hardware for you. It's a promise. It's a promise to your console base. Hey, I know that you can play on PC or anywhere else, but if you buy this box, we're going to make it like special for you. Xbox isn't. It's not super special for folks right now. Like, it's an option. It's an option. And if you've been buying games on Xbox for 30 years, it's probably a good option for you. But if you haven't, like, if you're brand new to this, like, I can't possibly fathom saying this is the best use of your money. I don't think there's a lot of evidence to support that.
Maybe they're just ahead of the curve and they're positioning themselves for the eventuality of Fortnite being the only thing people want to spend money on. And they're like, you know what? We're positioning ourselves to just truly be third party. We're just not saying.
I think they are. I do think they are. Yeah. I think it's pretty clear that they're doing that. I also think it's clear that they're going to be third party, but they still want to have a hardware presence.
Yeah.
They're still going to sell hardware.
They're Microsoft. Like, we have to stop looking at it as Xbox. They're Microsoft. Yeah,
people hear third party and they think Sega. This isn't Sega. They're not going to go away. They're not going to stop making. They're going to make hardware. But the thing is, they've got to start communicating to people that the hardware that they make, Xbox wants it to be like a PC. It's an option for you if you want to buy it. But they're not going to count consoles sold. They're not going to commit to you day one exclusives. Like, maybe some, like, I'm sure. And that's the thing. Again, there's the rub. I think Xbox wants to, we will have an exclusive when we think it's advantageous for us to have it. And I think for the gamer, the console gamer, that's a really tough sell to communicate to people. And I think there are a lot, I wouldn't say a lot. There are some people out there, your casuals, they don't give a fuck. They'll pay attention. They buy an Xbox because they buy an Xbox. I think that's what Xbox is. They're banking on that. And they're like, yeah, we got them. They're good. Right?
It's so funny that you say that.
for us, the people that do pay attention, nobody's going to buy in on that. Like, well, if we think it's advantageous for us to make it exclusive, then we'll keep it exclusive. If we don't, then maybe we'll take it and we'll put it on PlayStation, and maybe we'll do it in 3 months, maybe we'll do it in a year. Like, that's a weird, like, just buy a PlayStation. It's like, what are you buying into? What is that? What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything to anybody.
I have a coworker who is like, really on that same point because his cousin, who he plays most of his games with, he bought an Xbox. He's like, "Why did you do that?" It's like, get a PC or play. We can do
Yeah.
so much more games that we can play together. Like,
Yep.
and you bought an Xbox, and like you're pigeonholed. Like you
And just
can't even do anything.
imagine if the Switch 2 can punch in the ballpark to get ports of games. Now you've got Switch running Xbox games. You have multiple hardware SKUs running Xbox games at different levels and price points.
Mhm.
And you're like, I'm going to buy an Xbox and forego all of the benefits these other things bring me. Like, why? That
Yeah,
doesn't make sense as a consumer. I couldn't argue for anybody to do that and respect their wallet. Like, I feel like
yeah.
you're doing yourself a disservice. Like, you're hurting yourself by doing this.
Because
You
what
know?
would you rather have, Indiana Jones 6 months after release or Final Fantasy 5 years after release?
Exactly. Exactly. And I do think the smoke of Xbox returning to a PC like something where they do have access to Steam probably solves a lot of these issues. Honestly, I really do. And that's been in the zeitgeist. We've talked about it. Sean and I have
Mhm.
talked about it. And lately in Xbox land, that's all the rage. Like all the Xbox podcasters and influencers, that's all they're talking about is we want a box that plays Steam. It's like, yeah, that's a PC. Like then, so like that's the other part of my mind. I'm like, then what's stopping Steam from just doing that? Like, what is literally stopping Steam from just replacing Xbox? Like, they could just release their own box, a Steam box, like
Mhm.
Steam OS, like the Steam Deck. They just come back at Steam
I
Box
told
2.0
you. I
and
told you
just
the
put
Steam
Steam.
Deck was just like the Trojan horse to say
Yeah,
we've got something that
yeah.
runs Steam
So, like,
games. Now we try Steam OS and Steam boxes again and say, hey,
if I
how
was
would you like
advising,
this? The more powerful version that doesn't have to be portable.
if
And
I
then
was
you have
advising Xbox, if
the
I was a
Steam Deck.
decision maker at Xbox, I would try to integrate Game Pass into Steam. I would try to launch a first party Game Pass service on other consoles, and I would just have some hardware for the people that want to buy it. And it would be completely notional, non-essential hardware. I'd be like, hey, we have, and I would make it cheap. I've told you, like, I feel like a P3P parrot. I would have a cheap option and I would have a handheld option. And I'd be like, yeah, if you don't want to pay $700 for the PlayStation 6 or whatever it's going to cost, if you don't want to have to pay for online, whatever, I've been talking about that for years. Why is Xbox making people pay for online? Like, those are the things that I would tackle to differentiate myself from the market. But
Mhm.
until they do that, they are just a clone of PlayStation doing it much worse than PlayStation does. That's it. Like it's just brass tacks. There's no I love what they do. I love Gears and I love Fable. And as long as I have to buy something to play Fable on it, I will. I'll buy it. I buy all the things. I have all the consoles and for the most part, I ebb and flow and go back and forth, but I've always had all the things. If there's something I want to play, I'm going to buy it. You know? But that's generally where I am. I don't think it's a matter of what nets out Xbox the most money on a game sold per
Yeah.
basis. It's like what's best for the ecosystem, because if they lose their hardware, again, what I pointed out before, if hardware diminishes, if it lessens, let's say they lose 30% of their hardware by being multi-platform. I think that's very nice to Xbox. Because if you go
Mhm.
multi-platform, it could be way worse than 30%. Let's say it's even, 20%. Let's say they lose 20% of their current console base by going multi-platform on software. That's 20% a loss, not just on that game sold. That's 20% loss on any that's 30% on anything else that anybody does. That's
Yeah.
Xbox Live, that's Game Pass sold, it's accessories. It's so much more than the game. Also,
Mhm.
remember that any copy of Indiana Jones sold, that's 30% going to the PlayStation.
Yep.
You don't get that back either, you know? So I just think they have ventured into this myriad, this murky place where they're like a little bit of both.
Yeah.
And it's super weird. It's just super weird. And I will say this. I know Sean
God.
listens to us. This was a pet peeve for mine. I listened to the Xbox Drive this week. And I was hoping to talk about this with Sean on Sweet Hangs, but who knows when we'll record. That might be a month from now. Sean, it was a fine show. They have new guests. I'm not sure if you've ever listened to them. They have new hosts now. It's a 4-person show. And they talked about Gamescom and all the games are happening. And Sean was like, I'm just really happy that we talked about the games instead of all this other stuff. And I know that to be Sean. That is Sean. That's he's genuine Sean. He likes doing that. You know, he wants to spin the positive and it's not, and I'm not saying it's like not genuine. It is. That's genuinely Sean.
That's,
You know,
that's
Sean.
Sean.
That's genuine. That's Sean. But I also listened to it and I'm like, you're completely missing the mark though. Like you're bearing the lead. Like to me, and maybe I'm just wrong, but to me, and I've been saying this for like a year. This stuff matters. It matters to the future of Xbox. Like it's big picture stuff, you know, and maybe it doesn't matter to like an individual, or maybe it doesn't matter to you, or maybe it doesn't matter to this game, but you keep doing this and it does matter. It has wide reaching ramifications for Game Pass and for Xbox's viability and their sustainability and their profit. And the idea, and not saying that Sean did this because they definitely didn't, but the people that are out there, and there are them, they're very easy to spot and find. The people that are out there like, I just want more people to be able to play games and I don't care. What does it matter to me if it's not about being a console warrior? You know, it's not about my dad can beat up your dad. It's not about that at all. It's just about, hey man, I've invested into this and I want it to be viable and sustainable. Like imagine if you've been buying games for 30 years from Xbox. Imagine if you have 30 years of history of games in there. And suddenly they're going multi-platform and like they're sell less consoles and everything. Like that's a real thing that matters. That really matters. And I don't understand why more people with like bigger outlets with more influence aren't bringing that part of this argument up.
Yeah, it's really weird, and I wonder if it's like I think back to like the 360 generation where they were riding high, they were doing all the right things.
Yeah.
Then they fucked it up with the Xbox One and the whole idea of it being this whole other media thing. So they lost cachet. Then they come with the Xbox One X, which kind of brings them back into the fold. They've got a powerful console. They're really about the games. We get Phil Spencer on. And then they do this. They buy a bunch of stuff.
The whole thing for you, it was a decade of
and somehow
PlayStation has all these exclusives and you don't. So you buy up a bunch of developers, a bunch of studios, and then before you ever start really shipping any of that stuff.
Yeah, for your console, specifically. For you.
Right.
You come and do this. Oh, we're going to put these games here and see what we learn. And now Indiana Jones is going to be this multi-platform thing. And Starfield didn't do what we wanted it to do. We've taken forever to get all these other games out. It's just like every step they take forward, it's like they somehow managed to put their foot in their mouth and take 7 steps backwards.
D-Life says Game Pass isn't going anywhere even with less consoles. If they lose 30% of consoles, wouldn't they make it up on selling games on other platforms? Again, it's not that Game Pass isn't going anywhere. It's what does it do to Game Pass?
Right.
That's the thing. It's not that I'm not saying it's zero sum. What I say is if you lose more Game Pass subscriptions because people move hardware and they get out of the ecosystem, that could mean less games for Game Pass. It could mean less investment for Game Pass. It could mean more price hikes for Game Pass. And if you think any of those things are crazy, I only have to point you to a month ago when they literally did just that. Like they've done all those things already. And I think you could see more of that happening. And do we reach a point where if Game Pass gets diminished enough, do we reach a point where Microsoft goes, that's a zero-sum game, just stop it. Yeah. Let's get out of the Game Pass business and let's get more into the publisher business.
So when I make my joke about I'm just waiting Game Pass to die, that's what I'm talking about because that is a very real scenario.
Yeah, it's not an unbelievable scenario. I think some people are like, oh, they'll just eat it. They're not going to. You know? And
before we say anything else, Delvin, do you want to add anything to this? I know you're just sitting there listening to us ramble, and we definitely will keep going.
You want me to add what I want to add to this?
Something.
Finish the goddamn show. It's 1 o'clock in the morning.
You can leave. Nobody you can leave. Like if you gotta go, you can go.
No, I leave with my family. You guys, my family. So finish the goddamn show so I can sleep.
But yeah, there does seem to be this idea that like PC can just hold up Game Pass and we'll just find other people. And I'm like, yeah, that's not a thing.
Yeah, especially if they can't get Game Pass on other consoles.
Exactly. So if it were me,
I agree.
I would be telling them like, hey, you need to create a first party only version of this.
Mm-hmm.
You can start shipping somewhere else. Like again, it goes back to your doctrine. Like, hold them to what they say. They said they want to reach more gamers. So what are you doing to do that? Are you trying to reach more gamers? You trying to sell more consoles? Remember, it was about, what was it about a few years ago? We're trying to grow Game Pass. Well, that did work, and then they changed it all. Again, just hold them to what they say. I'm not holding them to something. That's what they said.
First party Game Pass on PlayStation sounds like a brilliant idea.
It's genius.
Yeah, but they're like, no, we're
genius.
We're just gonna give you the games.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I would go first party only, strip out all the third party stuff, and be like, if you subscribe to this over there, you can play these games. It's just the same thing that Ubisoft does. Like the same thing Ubisoft does on Switch and PlayStation and Steam.
Yeah, just
I wonder how much PlayStation would command say we want.
They're going to want the 30%. That's the thing, and
I wonder if they'll ask for even more.
They can't. I think that's a blanket agreement with the platform. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, can Game Pass sustain if you're giving up 30%? And I don't think
and that's the question. I'm like,
that's the question. So these are the things you start thinking about when you go, I just want everyone to play games. Like, okay, well, that might be in the Game Pass. And then I wonder if the people that go, I just want to play games, I wonder if they change their mind.
Right.
Because if you say there goes Game Pass, well, whoa, wait a second. It's like, hey, these are the realities of what you're saying. That's all.
There goes Game Pass. There goes Xbox. Because why am I even
accountable? Just be accountable for what you're saying. Like, don't just say it because it sounds cool, because it's socially acceptable. I just want everybody to play games. Let's be friends. It's like, yeah, it's
I have no problem saying I don't want y'all to have these games. I am an asshole. Look, I don't want my PlayStation games going anywhere else. I'm here. Gatekeeping.
You know me. I just like to dig a little deeper is all.
Yeah.
You know, like I get really down in the thought, like, okay, well, if this means that, and what does that mean?
Yeah. And this is why I appreciate you, Donnie, because you bring a whole outside conversation that I don't go looking for. And it's because you're here that I don't have to go looking for these kind of conversations. Like, it's the reality. Like when you say this is what people are saying, I hear you talk about this stuff so much that I don't even know that they're not saying that type of stuff.
It blows my mind.
I got Donnie's point. Like, damn, he's right.
Like I retweeted Jez the other day. Jez was like, here's what I think Xbox should do. They should commit to certain franchises always being Xbox console exclusives. And which he mentioned like the core three that most people do, Forza, Gears, and Halo. To which my response was, if you're about reaching more gamers, why would you ever do this?
Right.
These are the brands. These are the brands that have the most appeal. These are the ones that could do the most damage. Why would you hamper? Why would you, if anything, I would say, look at Hellblade and be like, that will always be like, that's the one. Take the niche games, South of Midnight. That's not going to do 30 million copies. Gears might. Gears could. Forza can. Those are the ones I'd be trying to get over, not Hi-Fi Rush. Like those are the ones like you could do just those, and maybe that makes up all the money to leave the other ones alone. You know, like it's such a weird thing to say. And for whatever reason, maybe I'm just wrong. I would love maybe somebody smarter to come and tell me, like, Donnie, this is why this doesn't make sense. But to date, I'm surprised that like it does feel like a lot. I feel like I'm in a very small vacuum. If not, just I don't see anybody else saying these things, or even talking about these things. You know, they're saying things like, "We got to protect Halo from being multi-platform." It's like, no, that's the one that should be multi-platform. It's multiplayer. It's the whole value is how many players. Like, how can you make a multiplayer shooter in a world of Fortnite that's console exclusive? Period.
I agree.
Period. At all. On any platform. Who cares?
Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. That
it becomes Concord all over again.
Right. And why would you ship Call of Duty everywhere but not Halo? You're shipping Call of Duty and Doom everywhere under the sun but not Halo. You're holding Halo, like you're hurting yourself.
Yeah, especially when you think about all the people that you've lost to PlayStation who were Halo people.
In the foot.
Like if you give it to them, you're just selling gangbusters, and now you have a very healthy ecosystem of players on that game.
The state that Destiny might be in or might be heading to, dude. Now would be the time to strike. Brand new Halo game, super big. We're all gonna play it. You know, like you could do gangbusters. There's too many things that don't add up.
Yeah, something ain't right. Something ain't right. All right. Well, in trying to get my brother out of here so he can get some sleep, we're gonna go ahead and put a pin in this. A couple of questions we have we'll save for next time. Just want to thank everybody who rocked with us for this whole 3.5 hour long conversation about all the wonderful shenanigans we get into in our Star Wars Outlaws review. If you're looking for a good Star Wars time, it's not a bad game to pick up. Hey, if you got Ubisoft Plus, it's a cool rental for a month. Check it out.
Yeah.
But until next time,
It'll be on sale soon.
Oh yeah, we know it'll be on sale real soon. This
Black
is what
Friday.
Ubisoft does.
I will comment on Kervin's statement. Xbox fans want God of War. They're not getting God of War.
Again, because one of these companies has built a console business and the other one is eroding it.
Yes.
And again, I don't want them to be exclusive because I'm a console warrior. But if you want to build a console business, that is
build a console business.
Build a console business.
They didn't want to give y'all the show. They didn't want to get Xbox the show.
Because I think, and that's the part that I'll just leave it at this. And now you're trying to get out. That's the part that I think Sean and I really agree on. Because if you wanted to build a console business, they are reaching the point where if they started cranking out full system exclusives and they stuck to this for a few years, I think they would build a console business.
Yes, I agree with that 100%.
And they've changed everything before they ever got there.
Yeah,
and that's the issue. So,
well, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, please play some video games.
See ya.
Nobody's sleeping in the middle of the bed. The middle of the bed is only where you do the business. But when everybody's ready to sleep, it's the side of the bed that can't be beat. It's the middle of the bed where lovers meet. But when it comes time to slumber, it's the edges. Ooh, the edges.